shit. Jacking it, jacking it, jacking it, jacking it.
Always starting well. That's what we do here.
Tweet.
Tweedly deedly dee. Tweedly deedly dee.
Where's that tweet? There it is.
Did you read it?
No. Should I have?
No.
Read the tweet.
Like
No.
out loud?
No. To yourself.
Okay. So you're already making that joke as I made that joke?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I made it
All right.
Ooh, we have 808 subscribers.
all right.
They were so close.
So close.
Like, subscribe, ring that bell, poke that gopher,
You can ring
tickle the
that
badger,
bell.
Tickle the badger.
Ring that bell.
press dramatically on the harpsichord. I don't know, whatever YouTube's doing this week.
Press dramatically on the harpsichord.
This is live streaming in the 19th century.
I'm just preparing for whatever shenanigans Google gets up to.
Right.
They'll be like, holy shit, they were the first to say press dramatically on the harpsichord. They'll be
Yeah.
like, they were so ahead of their time.
Yeah. Checks out. There ain't nobody here.
No? Where is everybody?
Give it a minute.
Hi, where are you?
Morons.
Hey now.
We're just always bringing quality content to the tubes of view.
Oh, we got one.
Hey, we
We got one.
Yep.
Good. What?
What? Hello.
Shut up.
Is the cat still doing marbling?
No, we're good.
Marbling.
Yes, marbled cat.
The cat is still doing marbling.
Hey, cat. Hey, cat. What are you doing?
Cat's in there chatting with somebody.
Stop talking to the ghosts.
Yeah.
That cat's gonna bark again, and I'm gonna leave. I know that was you. I know that was you, not the cat.
Oh, I wasn't trying to make you leave. I was just seeing if she'd answer back.
Oh.
It was a call and response kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I say, "Rrr," you say, "Rrr."
Fucking idiots.
It's us every week on YouTube.
This is the 489,000th best content on YouTube, and you guys out there in viewerland should be honored to receive it.
Yep.
Yeah,
You should
really.
feel honored. So,
Hey, so how's everybody's weekends?
well,
Yeah.
all right.
All right. Good
Fine.
content. Good content.
Yeah. We dodged a hurricane.
That was prior to last weekend.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Oh,
like, since last we spoke.
true. I guess. Yeah. Accurate. We were still on the precipice as we were recording our last episode.
Mackie did not.
He's dead.
He's on the farm.
He's been blown into the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just blows.
I have to restart my Google machine.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Why? What did you try to do? Use
just
an
acting up.
internet?
It's
How
just,
dare you try to use an internet?
Shame.
Just, every once in a while it's like,
I know how it feels.
I'm just a surface. I can't handle all these internets.
it's weird. It, normally runs like a champ, but
What's happening?
I'm having I'm having limb problems. My limbs are not they're just fucking going for it.
oh, hey, now live on your channel, BMFcast Raw Live Stream.
Yeah.
What?
I love that it tells us that we're live.
Thanks. It doesn't tell our fan.
No. It's like we know.
Oh, we got Bills here.
Yeah, Bill's here. We
Oh,
should
well,
just
people should go to patreon.com/BMFcast and help us pay those bills.
Bills.
I get it.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Mackie is dead.
He's on a farm. Upstate.
It's an upstate farm.
Taken by a.
If one of us actually when one of us actually dies, because we're all at risk of dying early.
It'll be me first.
Probably because you're the oldest.
Correct.
And possibly the most infirm. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
But it's going to be real weird trying to say it without people thinking we're making jokes.
No, make jokes. By all means, I give you all permission.
Yeah, please.
There's
Go into my house after I'm dead and make jokes at my expense.
I don't know if we're going to do that.
No.
No, I think we just take a sledgehammer to the to the whole room. Call it a day.
All right. Do what you got to do, man.
Just kick the door down.
Somebody
Can't move into.
Somebody save
Can't
my
move the
TV.
studio to your house because you have
I have
a
no
dozen
house.
people living there.
Yes.
Can't move it into his
I have
his
no house.
his house because
I got fucking no house.
Because he's always banging away on that fence.
yeah, right. We'd never.
You
We'd get over there and we'd all be put to work on,
we would
on
be
home
put to
projects.
work, yes. It's like, oh, great, more helpers.
Yeah. Here, help us scrape popcorn from the ceiling.
Today
Why
we're,
is there popcorn on the
we're
ceiling?
resanding the refrigerator today.
Yeah, so they have a bespoke wood refrigerator.
Yeah.
It's teak.
It's an antique.
Oh, are you going remote? Are you just like, hey, let me rap with you guys for a second.
the field here.
Going live from my crotch. I'm actually going to podcast from the center of the earth.
That's dedication right there. True dedication. Let us know when you find Brendan Fraser.
He's working.
They got back. Spoiler alert, they got back.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah, I don't know if he got back.
He's working.
He's on.
He works a lot.
His voice is on Doom Patrol.
He's done a lot of stuff. Like he's now one of those people who does a lot of things no one watches, but he does it a lot. He's-
Occasionally, his actual face is cross Doom Patrol, but mostly it's his voice.
I know,
From somewhere else.
but he has worked steadily the last 5 years. He took some time off to heal because he was a broken man.
Was it this movie? Was it too much
partially.
Too much green screen.
Yeah. That one interview he did 2-3 years ago is just the most depressing thing.
Look, I know people say the whole full moon thing is bullshit. But that motherfucker gets weird when it's close to full moon.
Oh yeah.
Extra weird. I mean, look, we all know she's weird, but listen to this fucking shit. She's out there like,
Maybe they left a little bit of uterus in there when they spayed her.
Yeah.
yeah,
She's just getting
That's all it
wild.
takes is a piece.
just a piece of the ute.
Yep. Whoops. Didn't get all the ute.
Maybe
These two utes.
the two whats?
Utes. What is a crit?
Should we do a podcast? Do you think?
I don't
Yeah,
fucking
give me a
care.
Are you watching?
Two.
Two. Cool. That's all.
Bill's one and the three of us are the other.
Cool.
Great. Give me a minute here.
Okay.
He needs a minute. BJ, just take a minute. Take a minute for yourself.
I wonder if this was the update that finally broke the surface.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Then you can get to the journey. You can journey to the center of the
right.
earth once you break the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's just slow.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
It's sad.
I feel you, bro. So slow.
Hurts me to the core.
We should watch the core.
We should watch the core.
Core's so good.
The core's not a bad movie.
Episode 500. The core.
Core is really good. Yeah, let's do that. Or the day after tomorrow. Let's do the day after tomorrow. Fuck yeah.
Good attempt to redeem the day after tomorrow.
You will love it a second time around. It's so good.
So good.
I don't-
They run from cold.
See-
They run from the cold and then wolves chase them.
I know, that's why it's so horrible.
But look, we'd be adding everyone's Jake Gyllenhaal count.
Yeah.
Do we need to?
Yes.
Yes, we
With
do.
that
We've had
movie?
this conversation.
Mackie's seen 2 Jake Gyllenhaal movies.
Yeah. Maybe make it 3 or 4.
3 or...
Three or
so you did
4.
go see Spider-Man,
Yeah.
so... Yeah.
3 or 4. I just suddenly went in, talking about Ben Kingsley. I just did his Mandarin voice. 3 or 4. Ben Kingsley or Kingsley.
Oh,
Jake Gyllenhaal
I forgot
voices.
how long the day after tomorrow is.
How long?
2 hours 4 minutes.
Oh, there's another viewer.
Another viewer.
Shit, the core is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Damn straight.
Jesus Christ.
You know, Mackie turns into a pumpkin at 91 minutes.
I mean, it's a big episode. We could do a weekend thing maybe. Just skip an extra and like do a big show.
Well,
Oh man, remember when we got together on the
really
weekend?
big shoe?
I remember weekends. We could just order pizza and start the movie at 7 o'clock when we all get here.
That doesn't happen either anymore.
What?
That doesn't happen either anymore. So
If he commits, like if he gives like 2 weeks notice to get here at 7 o'clock, he could probably swing it.
He needs to give 2 weeks notice, if you know what I mean.
Hey, hey, hey,
hey, ho! I do. Know what you're talking about.
Oh, look, a phone number said hello to us in the chat. An old-timey phone number.
That's just PPT 910 901. Come in, please. Yes, I need to reach Richmond. 215.
Pennsylvania 65000, please.
Good times.
We should do a show.
Yeah, let's do a show. What did we watch? Okay, yeah. Right. Got it.
Movies.
Got it. It's right here in front of me.
I feel like
Got it.
I've already de-lubed my lips here.
Oh,
All
you
our shenanigans.
get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I applied it too early. Let's do this. I was hitting Miyagi. That's the problem. All right, and welcome to the BMFcast.
Hey! BMFcast.
Yeah. Episode 482. Numbers and stuff.
Nice.
So I'm Harlow.
I'm BJ.
I'm Chuck.
And what we do each and every episode of this here BMFcast is we go and we watch ourselves a quote-unquote bad movie.
Oh.
Then we come in here and talk about it for the first half. And you know what? They get ratings.
They do.
Yeah. Good bad movies, enjoyable bad movies. They get 1 to 5 Jocksons and Robot Jocks.
All right.
Robot Jocks
yeah.
is a movie that we
Yeah.
enjoy immensely.
That's a 5 jockser.
It is. That is the maximum rating scale for good bad movies. But there are bad movies, and stay away. They get that negative sliding scale, 1 to 5 bags and giant bags of trash.
Yes, that is correct.
See,
Sack them up.
5 bags being the worst, see? See?
Yeah.
Yeah, drag them out to the drag 'em out to the curb.
These
Throw them in
movies
the
are
ocean.
bad.
See?
Yeah, they're real bad.
Chuck them in the bin. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are just watching some movies. We have no theme. We're just...
We're just clearing out the shelves.
This one we may be setting up for something in
Well,
the
I don't know
near
what you're talking
future.
about.
I don't either, but...
Stop giving away secrets.
Okay. But this movie's all about secrets, because we watched 2008's Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Is this movie about secrets?
Yes,
yeah,
the biggest secret.
that there's a hollow Earth.
That's not a secret. Everybody knows. We've read it all in the Jules Verne book. Why don't you give us a plot summary of what happens in this particular movie?
Okay. On a quest to find out what happened to his missing brother, a scientist, his nephew, and their mountain guide discover a fantastic and dangerous lost world in the center of the Earth.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
Yeah. They take a journey
Uh-huh.
to the center of the Earth.
Right.
People were dumb back then. You had to, say, this is what the book is about.
Oh, right. Yes. That checks out.
Read.
Yep. There's 2 alums in this movie.
Yes,
There are.
Brendan Fraser's one.
Uh-huh. He was in Monkey Bone.
He was in Monkey Bone.
We watched that.
Famous for Monkey Bone.
We did watch Monkey Bone.
We did,
sure
yeah.
did. That's the one where we all went, Chris Kattan can be good?
Yeah, that was really weird. I think it was more because that movie had beat us down so far. We were just like, please, someone. Oh, Chris Kattan, yay!
Yeah, look at what you're doing.
Mr. Peepers is here.
But Josh Hutcherson is
Josh Hutcherson.
He's in this movie, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Detention.
He was.
A movie that turns out was actually good, but we didn't know. We didn't understand what we were getting into.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
That was a listener recommendation, and
No, I think that just was it? I thought
I
it
think
just kind
so.
of sort of popped up on our radar somehow, and then we were like, we should watch this. It's from the guy that made Torque, and we didn't know. Even at the time, we didn't truly understand what Torque was going for either.
No.
Now we do.
Yes.
Yeah, Joseph Kahn's Torque.
Right.
So Josh Hutcherson's in there.
He sure is.
Josh Hutcherson.
Josh Hutcherson of the judicial system.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are drunk, F. Lee Bailey.
Yeah.
This is one of those things.
So I did not know this prior to starting this movie, but when we popped in the Ray of Blue, we were presented to you want to watch a 2D version or a 3D version, and I was like, huh, okay, it's one of those.
Yep.
And then the movie starts, and it's like, oh,
It's
one
one
of
of
those.
those.
It sure is.
We actually took a bullshit 3D
3D bullshit counter.
3D bullshit counter.
a very
yeah.
rough estimate of
Approx-
very obvious 3D effects.
Yeah, approximately 36.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
At least 36 times something will be thrust into your face. That's pretty
Not
yeah.
unlike
Put-
Chuck
put-
Saturday Night.
Put that on a box.
Yes.
Also not unlike Chuck Saturday Night.
Yep. Put it on a box.
No, in a box. On a box.
Well,
with a fox.
Chuck has very specific needs.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So this is another telling of the Jules Verne thing, only with a lot more bad CG.
Well, okay.
Sort of.
So it is a telling of the Jules Verne thing, but it's also like, hey, there's this book by Jules Verne called Journey to the Center of the Earth. What if we just use it as a guide?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It's not really a telling of the. It's
No.
It's.
It's
It's like, wait, the book is real?
I feel like my mind is now completely mush with bad CG, but I feel like this isn't the first time this plot device has been used, where they're like take famous story, but then make the story
Oh, yeah, no.
become fact in the story,
Yeah.
and yet also remake it.
You're right.
I just can't think of an example right now.
Neither can I.
Yeah.
Any movie about Santa Claus.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Brendan Fraser is a volcanologist, some sort of geologist.
He's a tectonic.
Sure.
Yeah, he's a
He's a
Science man.
tectonologist.
a Teutonic twat.
I don't
No?
know.
I
All right,
don't
that's
think
correct.
that's what it was.
No, okay, I don't know.
There's a very brief scene at the beginning as we're settling into movie where a man is chased by a T-Rex and dies.
Right. Yeah, that's a dream that he's having, and then he wakes up, and then he's before he goes to work, he is visited by his sister. Or no, he does go to work.
No, he
first.
goes to work first.
Yeah, he goes
'cause
to
he's
work.
bothered by Seth
Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers.
Yeah. Yeah, Seth Meyers is like the smarmy professor guy. He's the character in Ghostbusters. He's like, yeah, your research is shit. We're gonna take over your space.
Yeah, I'm better science than you.
Yeah. Hope your 2 students won't miss you when you get fired.
Yeah. And Brendan Fraser's like, my mom says I'm cool. Bye.
But yeah, he's basically continuing the work of his brother Max, who was better at his job than he is, because he had
Max is dead.
well,
so.
he was. I say he was better at his job than
Okay.
Brendan Fraser is now.
Okay.
But yeah, he was on the surface. He was studying tectonic shifts with these different sensors around the world. They've all but since gone out. Like there was like something like 27, I think.
29.
29
Down to 3.
Yeah, and only 3 are still active, and he's basically clinging on to that research, and this is important.
Right.
And
It means something.
yeah, and Seth Meyers points him out. He's like, "Yeah, you only have like 2 probes left." He's like, "We got 3."
Yeah, your science is weak. Weak
Yeah.
sauce.
So
Get
it's
that
just like-
science out of here.
It's like, oh, sad. I might get fired and lose my grant or something.
Sure, whatever science people get.
Yeah, and goes home and realizes, or he has like a bunch of messages. Realizes that his sister had called, who's I guess sister-in-law maybe, because
Yeah.
I get the impression
Max is his actual
Max is his
brother.
actual brother, and this is his sister-in-law who's
Yes.
going to be dropping off his nephew Josh Hutcherson
Sure.
for 10 days while she goes and finds a new place for them to live in Canada.
Yep. They're moving to the Great White Canada.
And that's the basic plot. And he, of course, didn't know this was happening. It's just like, oh, hey, great. Yeah, we'll do things like baseball and pizza and stuff. Cool, right? Josh Hutcherson is the typical 2008 teen of like, shut up, I'm playing my PSP.
Yeah.
You're not my real dad,
Right.
Brendan Fraser.
Great coin collection.
Yeah.
Jackass.
So,
And Brendan Fraser's like, yeah, you think so? And he's like, no.
yeah, and he's like, well, he has his sister-in-law has brought a box of his brother's belongings.
Yep.
And
Never showed them to his son.
No, there's like a baseball glove and stuff in there that might have been relevant to like, hey, maybe the kid might have wanted to see this, but in there is a copy of Journey to the Center of the Earth, and he's like, oh, look at these
Shoves
notes.
it at the camera and is like, hey,
Yeah.
this book is good.
And he realizes there's all these little notes and scribbles, and he's like, that's odd. He's got some of his sensors in here. I got to get to my lab. I got to check something out.
Yeah.
They go to the lab, and he's like, yeah, I'm still studying these 3 sensors, and he's like, what, don't you mean 4? There's 4 blips on the computer.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? He was a volcanologist.
Yeah?
Good job.
Yay.
This is germane to the plot.
Okay.
I promise.
But yeah, so they're like, oh shit, another sensor. Oh, and if this reading hits this, it means it's the same condition as it was when he was studying it 10 years ago when he disappeared.
Exactly 10 years ago.
Yeah, and he's like, if it hits this number, oh wait, it hit that number. I've got to get to Iceland where this new sensor is popped up.
Oh no.
Cut to them on a plane for half a second, PSPing. And
Well,
he's,
well, he's got this code in the book. It's like
Yeah.
these vertical letters, and it's like
he's trying to crack the code.
I don't even remember the dude's name. It's just Bjorn.
Sigbjornsson, Sigbjorn Asgeirsson.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah.
But anyway,
I got it. I'm
Yeah.
great.
Well, he's like looking at it, and he's like, I think these might be elements on the periodic table and stuff. And Josh Hutcherson is just like, I think it just might be this name vertically. And he's like, oh, I wonder who that is. And he just pulls out his PSP, goes to Google, and he's like, found it. It's this guy. He's in Iceland. He's a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, yeah,
Man.
we should go see him.
it's a good thing we're going to Iceland.
Googling on a PSP in 2008
In a plane.
in a plane.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Had
So
it with these
cool.
So yeah,
motherfucking ghouls.
they land and travel through the streets of Reykjavik, Iceland, briefly,
Sure.
and then go out to the country to find this.
To find his institute.
Yeah.
The Institute of...
Snuffles. Well, okay. They're looking for the institute,
Yeah.
but also the volcano Snuffles.
Snuffles. Snurfers.
That's the cutest volcano name ever.
Yeah.
Aw,
it's a
goodness,
snuggly old volcano. So cute.
But they happen upon a shack, and
Well,
it's like,
the institute, like the picture that he found on his PSP Googling was this guy like being taken away,
Yeah.
or whatever, and they just find this dilapidated sign, and it's like, oh, here's Shigborson Florkowski's place.
Flagarski's. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
Come
sorry,
in for some wings and things at Flagarski's.
I'm not. That's the last time.
Asgeirsson.
Okay, yes, Asgeirson's Institute is here, and we're here, son, and. So it's just this shack, and they knock on the door, and a lovely young lady comes to the door, and she's like, "Can I please speak to that guy's name, Asgeirsson?" And she's like, "Oh, he was my father. He's dead now."
Yep.
Anywho,
I am also of science.
yeah.
Is she a sciencer?
Sure.
Well, she invites him in
she's-
because it's kind of
Polite.
and stuff, and
Yeah.
they're sitting there, and can you tell us about your father? And it's like, yeah, he was basically they call him what a
Vernian.
Vernian. Yeah, he's like,
Like-
your brother was a Vernian, and he's like, what? No, what does that mean? He starts denying before he even understands what it is. Like,
No, he wasn't. What is it?
yeah, it's like it's people that believe that Jules Verne was actually writing prophetic things, not just science fiction. Yeah, and he's like, no, he wasn't. He liked this story, and he thought maybe there might be some truth to tubes that go down deep into the earth.
Volcanic tubes.
Yeah, that's all he really thinks it is. Not that there's some hollow earth or anything. It's just like, hey, that these tubes might go a lot further down than we think they do, and that's relevant to what I do. And she's like, no, look at these symbols in the book.
Yeah, because she gets her father's
Yeah.
copy of the book, and they match up
Yeah,
to
same symbols.
yeah.
Yeah. So they're
Uh-huh.
both nutters.
Vernologists. Thank you very much.
Verniers. Vernians.
Oh, they had
What do you-
they had
Yeah,
new teeth.
You know what I mean, Vern?
Teeth.
New teeth.
Yeah.
but then it's just like, hey, we need to climb the mountain.
Yeah, he's like, I'm trying to get to the sensor. It's 30 kilometers north of here, and she's like, well, there's no roads there. He's like, oh,
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yes. Well, she's like, I just happen to be a mountaineer,
I'm a mountainologist.
mountainologist.
She's a mountain guide.
Yeah.
Yep. And she will charge you 6,500 Vernon Heinrich
5,000
kroner.
kroners a day.
Which they say it like that. Like they play a little joke, like there's like, oh, I can afford that, 5,000 kroner a day. It's like I can afford that, and she's like, no, an hour, and it's like, what? And it's
Yeah.
like I have
It's
no idea. If that's
$65.
I have no idea if that's a lot. It's $65 a day in 2008 money.
Well, it's 5,000 kroner is $65
today.
in 2008.
Oh, you looked.
Yeah.
Wow.
I-
That's some research.
I
the kid's
looked,
like-
I
It's
looked
our
it up
crack-
on
it's
IMDb
That's
in
our
the trivia
crack
section.
research
Yeah.
team over here.
Yeah. But the kid's like, you got enough rolled up quarters for that, dirt?
Yeah, he says, "Do you take rolls of quarters?"
Yeah. And then they're on the mountain.
Take a roll of quarters to your face.
But why are
you
they
little
climbing the mountain?
shit.
They are climbing the mountain to get to the thing.
Oh,
Because
right,
it is
yes.
there.
Yeah.
And they get to the thing.
Yeah, they're looking for the sensor
Mm-hmm.
that he left in Snuffles the mountain.
Yes. Which he gets to, and he can't open, and immediately there's a lightning storm, and she's like, run for cover. And he's like, nah, I'm going to get this.
I'm going to keep grabbing this metal pole that's jammed in the ground.
So
And they're like, the lightning wants the pole.
yeah.
The
hates
lightning
this
is
pole.
attracted to
Yes.
it. Yeah, the lightning has feelings for that pole.
Lightning wants the D.
And so
Pole.
it starts, the lightning chases Brendan Fraser.
It does. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they all dive into a cave, and the cave explodes, and
Yep.
oops, they're trapped.
Yep. And not to worry, we'll just have to go through the cave and find another way out.
Yeah, we'll just randomly walk through random caves.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
They do.
They do.
They do, yeah.
They find a big hole.
Well, they go through and they're like, there's two paths at the beginning. This movie's a lot like the bad Indiana Jones movies, like Temple of Doom and
What?
Crystal
Go to
Skull.
hell.
No. I'm saying like
You're right.
The plots of those where it's like
You're right.
where Indy stops being knowledgeable and just goes like, dumb luck. I walked into this.
Yeah.
Like that's. Don't get me wrong. I like Temple of Doom because it's got
You
dumb
better.
bits. But I'm saying like Crystal Skull was a particularly egregious with that, where it was just like, I don't really know what I'm doing. It's just like dumb luck. We found exactly what we're looking for. This movie is all that because he's like, I don't know. Gut says let's go right.
Yeah, because they're faced with 3 tunnels, and you're like, well, okay,
Well,
obviously.
it was 2 at the beginning, and then it's the train
Okay.
car thing where it becomes 3. But yes,
you figure, like, okay, we'll take this one, you can take that one, and then we report back. And it's like, oh, there's going to be a creepy spider in one of them or something. It's just like, no, we'll just go this way.
we just picked the right one.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's her name?
Hannah.
Sorna Borgensen.
Hannah. She has an easy name.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Hannah is like telling the story of like, oh yeah, this is probably related to this mine that used to be here 50 years ago. Had a terrible accident, like 80-something people died. Like, oh, that's great.
How many survived? One.
Oh. Yeah. But she's like, yeah, we're probably getting close to this mine, and then they walk a little bit further, and lo and behold, mine. Like there's an old generator that they start up, and it lights the whole place up.
Well, I mean, okay, we're skipping their descent down this giant hole.
Okay.
Because, like, they all strap onto the ropes that she has in her backpack.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And so the best bit of this is that Brendan Fraser basically almost falls to his death, is stopped and swaying and freaking out. And she's like, I have to cut the rope. And he's like, no, dear God, I'll die. And she cuts the rope, and he drops like an inch.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I found the ground. It's here. And they both drop down like, yeah, okay.
Well, then she's just like, he's like, you knew the ground was there, right? And she just never gives him an answer.
Yeah.
I forgot that they had to go down the giant hole
That
first.
was a good bit.
Well, he was like being.
There are many giant holes that they have to
Yeah.
go down in this movie.
He was being super cocky too. He's just like, oh yeah, direction is my specialty. It's like walking through caves. I got this, and like nearly walks into the hole. And
Yeah, but then they start a generator, which he's like, don't touch that. And then,
also, by the way, 13-year-old Josh Hutcherson has called dibs on the Mountain Girl.
yeah, he did. Yeah. He
Mountain
is
guy.
too young. Brendan Fraser's too old. Somehow they both think that maybe they will end up with her. Mm-hmm. And she overhears him very early about this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dibs, what the fuck? And they're like, what? Huh?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes,
But yeah, they light up the mine, and it's like, hey, cool.
Mine cars.
Mine cars, let's get in them. And Brendan Fraser's like, no, maybe not. And then she just comes out of nowhere with one of the, the sawhorse push-pull things.
I have no idea what those things are
I
called.
think,
I
it's just a hand car. Isn't
Okay.
that what they're
Hand-
called?
Whatever. The thing that you see in every silent movie of someone pumping up and down to get it to move. And she, like, bumps into the other 2 cars that those 2 idiots are just sitting in.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yo, let's go. And she does all the work.
I'm sure there's some technical name, not hand car, but I'm pretty sure that's what the colloquial name is.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, she's pushing them in like normal ass
Yeah.
mine cars, and then they're just like,
But they go 50 feet, and then it's just insane roller coaster time.
Uh-huh.
And it's shot first person, so it's a crazy 3D sequence that in
Yeah.
2D is just like,
And-
and.
all right. So besides the quick flashback where it turned out to be a dream, like most of this movie has felt like it was in reality until this.
Oh,
Like, this
yeah,
is this is when the like full on Spy Kids-esque green screen CG nightmare with very low res textures begins.
And maybe it looked cool in 3D because the depth of field and everything is, that's how it's supposed to. I have a feeling this probably looked pretty neat in 3D.
Perhaps.
In 2D, it's just like, oh, this is a nightmare.
You
Yeah.
know where I think it looked really neat?
Where?
In 4D.
Oh.
Because it was part of several 4D installations. There were like 15-minute versions of this movie.
Sounds right.
Stone Mountain,
Uh-huh.
Dollywood,
Oh.
the Weston-super-Mare Grand Pier. Yeah,
Wait,
also
hold on,
Movie
hold on.
World.
Stone Mountain, like the Confederate monument in
Stone
Georgia?
Mountain Park. Yeah,
I didn't know there was a.
there's a 4D theater at Stone Mountain Park.
I had no idea. I thought they just did a dumb laser show on their
They had,
Confederate
they had to
bullshit.
branch out. They can't.
They gotta
rest
do-
their laurels on fucking laser shows.
Laser show, a little bit of racism,
Yeah.
and then 4D motion
Yeah,
rides.
can't put all your eggs in like laser heritage.
Yeah.
So true.
It's laser heritage, not laser hate.
Right. Yeah.
Fucking idiots. Blow those things off the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
gonna get an iTunes review about that one, I'm sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Fuck
Just
off.
10 minutes into it, they're disrespecting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Fuck off.
But yeah, anyway, it's a minecart roller coaster that
Yeah.
is just goes wildly out of control.
Well, of course, like all three cars just decide to somehow hit this magical like track exchange where they all
they
go
hit
off.
a crazy jump.
Well, no. First, it's just like there's literally like one of those split things, and like there's
No, they hit the jump first because they're all still
okay.
together.
Right,
They have
that's
to.
right.
They hit this like,
Oh,
oh no,
yeah.
the track is out, and it's just like, oh god.
Oh, she's immediately like goes into full speed mode.
Yeah.
Like, no, if we slow down, we're not gonna make it, and then we're gonna defy
If
the
you
laws of
speed
physics.
up, you're not gonna make it.
Yeah, and when like these cars come off the ramp, like they're all starting to twist, and it's like none of these cars are going to land on that track. Somehow they all do, but it's like right after that they split off into three directions, and it passes a sign that has two of the paths with a big red X on them.
I don't want to. All right. Speed is dumb. The bus jump thing in Speed is ridiculously dumb.
terrible.
Right. This is even worse because at least a bus had the entire half-built interstate thing to land on. A train works on lining up very specifically
Yes.
on a rail.
Yes.
And as soon as you leave
Also,
that
a
rail,
bus has suspension and an engine,
Right.
and a steering wheel.
Center of gravity.
there are a whole lot of things in this movie that don't take into account like impact damage.
no.
Yeah.
Like it's just that kid's like idea of like you used to think like dumb things like, oh, it'd be super easy to like jump from moving car to moving car. Like, you're driving down the highway and it's like, I could jump to that car. And it's like, no, you couldn't. You fucking idiot. You don't understand the laws of physics.
Well,
I mean,
we're about to get some of that.
Right.
To be fair, this is a sort of youth-oriented
It
movie,
absolutely
and it
is.
is definitely a fantasy.
Sure.
But-
But anyway, they jump.
It's real.
They jump, they die, and the rest of
Werner.
this is a fever dream. However, in the rest of this is
I just caught that.
yeah. But they jump and somehow magically hit that track splitter thing, and each car goes in its own direction, right?
Yes.
Um,
they each get their own track.
And as you said, there's a sign that's like 2 are dead, which is like that's terrible mind making, and this and 1 is safe.
Yes.
So of course Josh Hutcherson's safe. He goes off on the, he's on the safe track, and the other 2, first it's like quick jump to my mine car, your track's about to end, and then it's oh no, your track's about to end. So she mountaineers up this dumb thing, throws a grappling hook out onto the track, and yoink them out of the moving car just in time for it to slam into a wall.
Yes.
They, again, hit the ground, not breaking their necks or anything else.
To be fair to the mine, it's
Mm-hmm.
had an accident, and perhaps those 2 tracks became dangerous.
Right, but that's like the castle. That would be like someone went back in there and went, nope, not anymore. Like the one guy that survived, he just went back and be like, don't take this track.
Yeah,
yes.
he did because he was a kind individual.
Okay,
He cared.
sure.
But yeah, they're laying there dead on the ground, and Josh Hutcherson runs back in and is just like, hey guys, what's going on? And
Why are
he's
you
like-
laying on top of each other?
And he's just like, hey, what's that hole in the wall that you created by slamming your minecart into it? And they're like, oh, it's a thing. Let's go in there.
Yeah, and this is don't they? Oh, they first they go into the geode cavern because it's nothing but crystals and rubies and.
Oh no, that's
sapphire.
where they. That's where. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where
that's
he
what I'm
walks
saying. They go into
right?
like the geode cavern where.
I do like after they fall out of the minecart, Brendan Fraser trying to get up is just like, I'm the oldest, most broken man of just like, I have a feeling that was actually Brendan Fraser trying to sit up.
'Cause that's how we all feel now.
Yes. Yeah. But so yeah, they go into this cavern and it's all like, hey, look, gems and stuff, and then they walk a little further and it's like, oh my god,
Ooh, it's nothing but diamonds.
diamonds.
Emeralds. So what was it? Rubies.
Mm-hmm.
So first, Josh Hutcherson says, "Oh, look, rubies,"
Mm-hmm.
and then Hannah goes, "Oh, look, emeralds," and then
Then purple horseshoes.
Brendan Fraser's like, oh, feldspar.
Yes.
I thought that was a good joke.
Nerd.
Because
he also
Yeah, I know.
They find valuable things, and he finds feldspar.
It's important. We also skipped a later important plot point is when they find the giant hole before they rappel down it. He decides to light a flare. He's gonna get Josh Hutcherson to time the flare as he drops it down and holds it up and lights the cavern roof that's made of mostly of magnesium.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like, it's this whole like sparking thing. He's like, oh, it's magnesium. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's
And
just-
in that shot, actually burned himself. They had to shut down production because
Oh.
he burned his hand off.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, and then she pulls out a glow stick. It's like, how about you try this?
Yeah.
But important, she has flares.
She does.
And there's magnesium. In
She has
some of
a
these caves.
magical Jack Bauer backpack of just whatever she needs.
Well,
is
she's
in
a
there.
good mountaineer,
She is.
mountain guide.
Mountain lady.
It's a Bauer with some extra umlauts.
Yes.
Bauer.
Bauer.
Feldspar makes up about 41% of the Earth's continental crust by weight.
Neat.
So it's even less interesting that
Yeah.
he found feldspar.
So it's very common. Yeah. So
But yes, they're
they're
oohing and
like,
awing
hey,
over the-
diamonds, let's get the diamonds. And then all of a sudden the floor starts to crack.
Yep.
Oh no, it's muscovite.
Yeah, because she wipes off and she's like, oh, this isn't ground. This is, and he's like, yeah, come back the way you came and it'll be fine. And then everything's almost fine until Josh Hutcherson drops a diamond. And
Well,
People
even
say
he-
he's crazy. He's got diamonds by the soles of his shoes. Well, that's one way to cure these cracking blues.
except it cracks
Been
the
hanging
floor.
on to that, haven't you? Was your saving Graceland, huh?
Yeah. So they fall.
Yeah. Well, not at first. First, you get the dramatic like 3D like diamond coming to the ground. Oh no! And it hits it. You're like, oh, I guess we're okay. Well,
Yeah.
I guess it's thicker than I thought. Wow! Yes, and then they fall for like 30 minutes straight.
They do.
Yes,
They,
it's just 30 minutes of nothing but falling.
I mean, it's actually
They stop way too early to do the joke of we're still falling. Like they're screaming for 10 seconds and then they all stop and go, we're still falling.
I actually think it's funny the way it plays out because they. Did they do this in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey too when they're falling into hell?
I think so,
Like they were
yeah.
just falling and falling. Like, dude, we're still falling.
Yeah.
But similar thing. Like they're just as long as they can, and then they go like, we're still falling.
Yeah.
Why are we still falling? And then they start like, well, I have some theories.
They just start shouting science at each other.
It's kind of great.
And I swear to, okay, so Brendan Fraser starts shouting important information, but I cannot understand a single word he says in this sequence. It is just
Well, Josh Hutcherson's like, there-
Josh Hutcherson?
he's like, what's at the bottom of this? And he's like, well, there's several theories about that. It's like we could be falling directly into magma. However, if it starts getting humid, we may actually encounter water,
Yeah.
which could lead into a waterfall, which may act sort of like a water slide
Yeah.
and break our fall. And then she's like, but if the water's falling down, wouldn't that be creating stalagmites in which we would just impale ourselves? He's like, yes, that's also possible. We could be falling to our doom that way too. And then they're like, wait, is that water? Oh well, here comes the water slide, and
Yep.
then we water slide for 2 seconds into some water.
they swim out.
They swim out, except she doesn't. Then he has to rescue her. She just stops.
Her backpack was too heavy.
Is that what it was?
she says, which
Oh.
is just like, no, swim harder.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I call bullshit because Icelanders float. Yeah.
That joke
That's
is-
two movies
That-
that Brendan Fraser's been in where
I-
ice does not float.
That's yeah, you're right.
G.I. Joe. Anyway,
Yeah, they're on a beach.
yeah, they just find a beach and then they
They find a tree house.
Yeah, well, then they walk in, as you said, the Genesis Project. Like they go through a little crack and they're like, oh look, there's a cavern over here. First, there's luminescent birds.
Yes.
Which they take a while for somebody who's supposed to be a scientist to go. They're birds, but they're bioluminescent, like algae or plankton, and that's weird.
Yeah.
Also, these should have been extinct 150. I don't know why that's not Brendan Fraser at all. But
No.
he just like every once in a while the scientist kicks in, and I was like, are you
you
seriously
remember the
just
science?
Well, I'm just like, are you seriously going to look at glowy birds and not say bioluminescence? And they get there eventually, but
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, and the birds don't do the thing that you think they would do in a movie like this, which is like one floats up to Josh Hutcherson and is all like being cute, and you're like, okay, open your mouth and show your vicious teeth, and oh god, run from the birds. But it's just like, no, they're cute birds. They're just really cute, emotive birds for some reason, and one hangs around for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. One befriends Josh Hutcherson.
Josh Hutcherson?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, then it's just, they're just like, wow, look at all of this. Amazing. Anyway, there's a treehouse over here. Let's check that out.
Yeah, but they go through this crack, and it's the Genesis Project room. It's just this grand valley. There's a glowing sun thing in the center of it.
It's like, oh, that's a
There's
neuron
gas
star
things.
trapped with the thing and stuff. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, look, treehouse.
Mm-hmm. So the two dudes go in there, and she just wanders off for some reason. Or I think the bird leads her. She's like, "What bird?" And then like goes and looks over a cliff and is just like,
Well, first she finds a water bottle, scratches off it. As you said, it was like it's going to say Max, and
Yep.
yes, it's carved Max on it. And they're just poking around this treehouse and finding, old journals and tools from like the 1800s, and they're like, "Oh, it's
"Oh, it's the dude from the book."
yeah, the character who's probably a real guy that they're convinced now."
Yeah,
that-
Nickelback is his name.
Yes.
George Nickelback.
Yeah.
Star of the novel Journey to the Center.
We're big literary nerds here. Could you tell?
Yeah.
They're like, look at this graph.
Yep.
It shows how to get to the center of the earth. But
Yeah, they're like, wow, these things were state of the art 100 years ago. Wow.
yeah. Meanwhile, she's following the bird / walking over, and just kind of has a oh my.
Leidenbrock. I found it.
Leidenbrock?
Leidenbrock.
Yeah,
yes.
That's so close to
Icelandic.
Nickelback.
for
Look at this
Nickelback.
Leidenbrock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Kronerback.
Yeah. Lowenbrow.
You absolute clowns. How dare you mock a literary figure?
Oh, right.
Easily.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Carry on.
she looks over a cliff and is just like, oh, no.
oh, dear God.
Oh, dear God, no.
Yeah.
We don't see it.
Yeah.
But she comes back and is just like, Brendan Fraser, can you come out here for
Well,
a second,
they've
please?
also discovered a newer book, which
Yeah.
obviously is Max's book
Yeah.
because
It's like, hey, check this out.
he's like, actually, that's not Lowenbrow's writing. It's I know you said the right name. I
Looks
already
like
forgot
your dad.
it. Yeah, this is actually your dad's writing. And
He's like, wow,
yeah.
my
and
dad's
then she's like,
here.
hey, Brendan Fraser, come over here.
Yeah.
And we never see the corpse. It's just like cut to him going, oh no, and then like he's Captain Kirked him. He's
They've Star
Put the
Trek
last
Generations.
stone on a cairn for him.
Yeah, they've buried him under rocks on the beach, and they're just all like boo-hooing and.
and then he reads the final page of the journal, like, tell my boy I loved him.
He was like, well, boy, I left you when you were 3, and I did all this for you, and I'm dead now, so don't come here.
Now I'm 3 dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is this basically like, we got to get north, so we got to build a boat?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, like almost immediately, they're like, "Man, it's getting kind of warm in here."
Yeah.
And then like he starts sciencing of like, "Oh shit, yeah, the timing of this. Yeah, it looks like he was writing, and he said if I don't get out of here at this one window, I'm basically going to be boiled alive in this cave." So
Maybe that's
yeah,
what happened.
we've got to get across that sea where I buried your dad, Josh Hutcherson, and I think there's like if you read the book, it's like there's a geyser over there, and it's just gonna lift us up into the safe
we
place,
belong.
yeah, onto the surface. And they're like, that all sounds reasonable. Let's fasten a raft.
Yep.
And then it's raft building montage, and
Love a good raft montage.
yeah,
Yeah. They put together a raft for a while.
yep. And
then
then they build a
they're like-
sail.
Like, whoa, sail.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like they
no,
hoist
not-
that thing, and it's
well,
just
it's-
like, we got to go.
Well, it's like not a sail. So he's like, no. Well, Josh is like, shouldn't we be mounting this? I'm just gonna keep doing it. Sorry.
It's just a bunch of Z's now.
Oh,
Josh.
All you have to do is go.
Yeah.
As long as you get the tempo right.
Yeah.
Tempo and inflection right. Everybody will know
He's
you're
like,
talking about.
Shouldn't we be lashing this, sail to the boat? And he's like, oh no, we're going to use these thermal winds up there. They're
Yeah.
going to get us there faster. And you're like, okay. So yeah, they take this like parachute kite thing, and it's just like gotta
basically
go.
kite surfing
Yeah.
It's just like
underground over the underground sea.
And then it's suddenly like every sea movie, where someone escapes somewhere. It's just like, oh, there's turbulent weather now and lightning and.
Well, first it was giant piranha.
Well, they're sailing into.
Yes,
it's like
they're
he's
sailing
like,
into
they're like,
it.
it's just a little bit of rain, and
Yeah.
then they're like, what's that? And
Yeah.
then it's like
Oh.
these giant,
Full hurricane.
The tiny ship was tossed.
yeah. If not for the 3D and the bats, Yeah, I don't know, but like these giant like barracuda looking evil things start jumping out of the water, and
They
they
look like anglerfish.
okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Angry.
Yeah,
Angry lure.
angry anglerfish are jumping out of the water.
Mostly at the camera.
Yeah, of course, lots of it at the camera, and then he's like, "I told you I was going to take you to the batting cages. Ha! Let's do this." And then
They just take some sticks.
they're just beating on the fish until somehow Josh Hutcherson
They're
gets
just whacking the mackerel there.
the whack-a-mackle. Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden he gets a call from his mom on his cell phone.
Yeah.
Because of course he immediately, as soon as they're buried, he's like, "Oh, let me call somebody. Oh, you don't have a signal, fucking Nokia."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they must have been under Sweden or something because he gets enough signal.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, we're hanging out. We're having pizza with Uncle Guy.
Uncle Guy.
Uncle Trevor.
Right.
Yeah.
And then a fish just comes up and yoinks his phone away.
Uh huh.
And he's like, shit.
And then this ends with like one of the anglerfish like lands on the boat and is about to bite Hannah in the ass.
Yeah,
like it's just like a hey, look at her ass,
Yep.
and then she's like backing into this fish, which is like
that
ass.
Give me that ass. And
And
then they
Brendan
bat it
Fraser's
away.
like, nope,
Yeah.
that's mine, and yanks that fish out of the boat. And
Yeah. And then dinosaurs show up to eat the fish.
well, yeah, like giant eel things start coming out. You know,
a bigger, blacker fish.
Yeah. Yeah, basically it's like
Giant magical leopleurodons.
yeah, it's the Qui-Gon. There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the dinosaurs show up to eat the fish,
Mm-hmm.
and Brandon Fraser's like, not meat eaters.
You're
They're fish
doing great.
eaters.
They're not. He says they're not after us.
They're
after
Episcopalians.
yes,
The
pescatarians. Maybe.
only on Fridays are they can eat the other fish.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, they're not after us. They are after these other fish that were after us.
Yeah.
So let us steer away.
So let's steer away,
Mm-hmm.
which they do.
Let us sail away.
And then
The lady gets hurt because she's hanging onto the rope.
right, yeah, she gets
rope burns.
Yeah.
Great mountaineering if you get fucking rope burns from a
Well,
stupid
she's wearing fingerless gloves.
sea sail.
The fuck?
Yeah,
But Brendan Fraser goes to tend to her, and then Josh Hutcherson is like, "I got this," and just tries to like Spider-Man the sails. That like I'm gonna pull them together, and he just gets fucking yoinked off this boat.
Yep.
And they're
The
like,
wind yeets
"Bye."
him from the boat.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, Sean."
Mm-hmm.
So
Bye.
he ends up on one beach. They end up on another.
And never the two shall meet again.
Oh.
They all
No,
die.
they go on their own journeys
Yeah.
through the center of the earth at this point.
They're crushed to death. By
Yeah, well,
the-
Josh Hutcherson wakes up and one of the anglerfish is like right by his face, and he's just like, "Oh no!" And then all of a sudden, his magical bird friend shows up, who I guess followed them across the fucking sea.
yeah,
that
it showed
bird-
up in the middle of the
Yeah.
storm sequence. It's like, hey, or right before the storm sequence.
It was hanging out in the sail.
sail.
So yeah,
Okay,
it came along with him.
but yeah,
And it becomes just a guide. Just like, hey, follow me. I'll
yeah,
show you the way.
It's Josh Hutcherson's Navi.
Yeah.
It's like, "Hey, Josh, over here."
Yep.
Shut up.
So he's got his dad's compass.
Oh yeah, they've also explained that the compasses are backwards down here because reasons.
North means south, so
Yeah.
go south,
Mhm.
young man. And so he goes through a crevasse and then is in the Last Crusade.
He has several things he has to get his way out of,
Some
but yes,
challenges.
eventually he just gets to this room where he's walking across this like just chasm, and there's these rocks, and all of a sudden he's like, "Wait, these rocks aren't touching anything; they're floating."
Well, he trips.
Oh, he trips.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
his
Swiss Army knife.
Army knife comes tumbling out of his pocket,
Yeah.
floats in the air for a second for the 3D effect, and then he looks at his compass, which is going haywire, and he's like,
"Ooh."
"Oh, magnetic field,
accurate.
magnetic fields forever," and then
He just has to Frogger across some
yeah, he
rocks.
does this, every 3D platforming game thing where you have to jump up across a bunch of fucking rocks,
Yeah.
and you fall a million times.
The best part about this is he leaps to one rock and is like riding the inertia until it just stops, and then like for some reason the bird has just flown to the other side and is like, "Come on, do it, do the thing, come on." And he jumps to this one rock and like loses inertia where like he's just like sitting there in the middle, like no rocks close by, and it cuts over that bird, and the bird literally does a disappointed like head shake.
God, you suck.
And it's just like, all right, it's one of those kind of movies.
Yeah. I think it's when he jumped on the rock and the rock started rotating around.
No. That was pre this. That was
okay.
pre the bird was disappointed just at his like not figuring out proper inertia.
Right.
But yeah, because he gets stuck on one rock and the bird's like, oh no, and then he jumps to another one and then jumps to a bigger one, and that's when it's like he barely makes it and lands on the edge, and it starts the whole thing just slowly turning while he's hugging this rock, like doing a full 360, and then like actually like almost like a 180. No, it can't be. He could have done a 180 because he finally it comes to a stop and it's like actually hit the other side.
Yeah, but then it starts going back the other way, and he's like, "What the shit?"
Yeah,
And
just the disappointed bird shot.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's gold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but eventually he gets across.
he does.
Yeah.
And then ends up in a desert / boneyard.
Yeah, he's in a boneyard.
Um,
There's a T-Rex here.
Yep, it's a real good T-Rex. And
Yeah, by real good, he means not good at all.
it's a pretty good T-Rex.
I don't know.
It's a Trex.
The Jurassic Games T-Rex was pretty good.
Yeah.
This one's
Oh
not.
wait, Hunger Games, Jurassic Games, it all checks out.
Yep,
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep,
It's come full circle. All that malarkey.
Just like he just did on that rock.
Right.
Yeah,
Josh
so-
Hutcherson always comes around.
Yeah. So anyway, he's gonna get chased by the T-Rex.
There was
for a
like a
while.
T-Rex in detention too, wasn't there? He's just surrounded by T-Rexes. There was like a dinosaur part in that movie.
You
for some
might be
reason.
right. Detention broke my brain.
Yeah. Okay.
PETA and the T-Rex. P-Rex.
PETA and the Trex.
The other two are in another place, and they're like, "It's getting hotter. We really need to go." And Brendan Fraser's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go get Sean."
Yeah.
And she's like, "All right."
See you later, nerd.
Yeah, like they're constantly like checking a thermometer to see how hot it is, and it's like 115, 120 by now.
They're not even sweating.
Not well, they're like she's sweating in the cleavage area. That's about it. I'm saying like she just has like a nice glisten going on in the chesticle area, and it's like everyone's just barely like she's also like taking her mountain pants and turning them into short shorts because hey dads,
Yeah.
you're gonna like this part of the movie.
Oh, when they got to their beach, they get attacked by Venus flytraps.
Oh right,
To which he fucking punches them all to death, and then rips his sleeves off.
all right.
Well, one of them rips one of his sleeves off, and then the last thing he does is he like, the you can sense the thing coming up behind you, and you do the snap punch behind you. He does that, and then he rips his other
Yeah.
sleeve off.
I just-
and goes.
I feel like we've blown through this. Look, I don't know if our live jokes in the studio are going to translate,
Okay,
but this was my favorite part of the movie because we were nailing it on the jokes at this point.
we were doing pretty good.
So first off, if you've seen a Venus flytrap, you know that when they open up, they have a certain look to them.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
there is a
a
certain resemblance.
certain resemblance to some lady parts.
Especially these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so this giant thing opens. BJ goes, "Oh, look, it's a Georgia O'Keeffe painting." And I said, "Oh, I think you mean Georgia O'Leaf."
Yep.
Yes.
To which then she gets tangled up, and then he picks up. He basically like rips out of from the roots
Yes.
one of these things.
Yes, he does.
Picks it up and then just knee snaps it, so it's a Venus fly snap. You know,
Yep.
and that just it's like it kills the whole system because they're like, "Oh, we'll let her go," and that's when
He also punches one in the mouth.
he does punch one in the mouth.
But he
Yeah.
gets fucking caught.
Yeah, but then he rips his hand out and is covered in goo.
But
I
yes,
don't know where that goo.
But yes, he does the like final like, "Oh, there's one more behind me," isn't there? Whap, and then rips his last of his like, just to give himself the full tank top.
He's like, "Yeah, come on,
It's just
you can do it."
It's a weird moment that suddenly turns into like a wrestling montage where it's like Brendan Fraser is just like, "I'm a badass now.
He's literally
I'm gonna fucking rip these plants in half."
punching Venus flytraps to death. It's so weird, but whatever.
Yep.
So that happened.
Yep.
But then he's like, "I gotta go find Sean," and she's like, "Okay, fine." So
Yeah.
he stands on like a cliff and is just like, "Sean," and gets no answer. But then when the T-Rex shows up, he's like, "Oh, that's where Sean is."
Yeah, they have this moment where he's like, "I gotta go get my nephew. This is all my fault." And she's like, "Well, I'll wait by the river as long as I can. Bye."
Until it starts boiling, I
here's
guess.
Here's a weird unearned kiss for luck
Yeah.
thing.
She's like, I don't know. Get another
Just
chance.
maybe whatever.
Yeah.
I guess.
Because
I
movie.
I could die down here, so whatever. Kiss a mummy before I go. I
Yeah.
guess
He is the mummy.
he's an Encino man. Yeah, buddy. But yeah, so like yes, he enters the desert. It's like somehow they missed the magnetic rocks and all that. They just went some other path and still ended up here at the desert.
Yeah.
So yes, he hears some rumbling of the T-Rex. Josh Hutcherson has been chased into a cave by the T-Rex and is like pinned up against the back while it's chomping and trying to get him. And then he just goes to the other side and just starts beating his way through the cave,
stabbing the wall,
the mud cave with a bone or something.
Yeah,
and then just joinks him out. And is like, we gotta go.
Yep, and go they do.
Yeah, and then they're running
until
they're running, and then the T-Rex is of course gaining on them because they're faster.
It's a T-Rex.
Faster.
Yeah. And there's a lot of real bad dialogue, especially during this sequence of people talking to each other about things they should not be talking about while running from a T-Rex. Just like, oh,
how do you know, Chuck? Have you ever ran from a T-Rex?
No.
Well, there you go.
But I wouldn't say any of this dumb shit.
You don't know until you're in that situation.
Whatever. Because like halfway through, it's like Josh Hutcherson is like, "Haven't you ever seen a dinosaur before?" He's like, "Not one with skin." It's just like, shut up.
But yes, they end up they run, and then he veers off. He's like, keep going, and I guess tracks the T-Rex. Like, look, there's more meat here.
Yeah,
I'm Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, come bite my ass, T-Rex.
And then they run onto the fucking
more Moscovite.
More
marzipan.
Yeah,
yeah,
more Moskowitz.
And eventually, it's just like, okay, see you, T-Rex. You fell.
Yep.
R.I.P.T.
Ripped.
Yeah. And then they walk into a cave, and it's like, oh, a boiling river. How are we going to get past this? And lady just rose up in a dinosaur jaw.
Yeah.
That's now a boat, and she's like, hey, boys, get in. And they're like, well, this is convenient. Let's go.
Yeah.
So they go. And they basically get to where the volcano is, and they're like, oh, we missed it.
Yeah, well, they get they have one more dumb mine car thing where it's like, oh, the river's getting thinner, and
we didn't need another one of these.
Well, just the jaw falls down a long ways and then gets wedged in the rocks.
Yeah,
so it's like some rock jaw, and
because they're like, okay, here comes the thing, and he's like, no, we're like 3 hours late. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, we've missed the geyser.
Yeah.
So,
but then they're like, but the walls are wet.
He's like, you're right. The walls are wet.
Yeah,
there's probably some ice or water behind this. If only. Oh wait, look. There's magnesium.
Yeah, I'm gonna light it, and then the water and the steam and the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 3 flares, and he jabs the wall with 2 of them, and it's just like, that didn't work.
Yeah, he's bad at flaring.
Yeah, he's really bad at this somehow. He's just like jamming him in like a virgin on prom night, just cramming it against the rock.
I mean, the thing about magnesium is it lights real easy. It just needs a certain temperature to get going.
Yeah. Magnesium doesn't give a fuck about water. Just hold it there for a second, you idiot.
Yeah, don't jam it in there.
Of course, I mean, this movie is the pinnacle of scientific accuracy.
It absolutely
is.
So,
this is actually a documentary.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's where Brendan Fraser was for all that time.
Are y'all Verners too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But eventually they dangle him over this thing, and it's just like, get down there to where the dry spots are and jab your flare there.
Well, he has to dramatically, it still doesn't work. He has to dramatically throw his flare at the camera across the way to the dry part, which almost doesn't light, but then lights, and then they're like, hang on, here comes the geyser.
Yep.
And then they just get launched into the fucking stratosphere.
Yep.
In this dinosaur jawbone.
And a lot more terrible dialogue is said.
Yep. And then they hit the ground and somehow start sliding without breaking the bone or their bones or any other bones.
Dinosaur jaws are strong.
It might be a fossilized dinosaur jawbone, but then it also probably wouldn't be floating. I don't know.
Look, man.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm going to stop thinking. We should stop thinking the movie's almost over. But they slide for a while and then go through a vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they land, and then he's like,
"Hey,
he's like, Vigneneer,
Ventnor,
yeah,
Ventnor,
yeah.
Ventnor.
Was that the guy's name? I don't know.
Yep, Marvin Ventnor.
Yes, Ventnor Gardens.
Yeah,
Ventnor Avenue.
But he's just like, oh, hey, you did the thing to my... He's saying it in Italian.
Yeah. Well, no. You can't do that yet because that's going to pay off even better. Because, Brendan Fraser's like, hey, that's Mount Vesuvius. We're in Italy. So, yeah, when your mom asks, just tell her we took a trip to Italy. Hey. And then the guy's like, hey, my grapes.
Yeah, that's...
But in Italian.
Right.
And Josh is just like, he's like, hey, hold up. And reaches in his pocket and pulls out one of the diamonds. And then walks over to the guy and hands it to him. He's like, you take for your grapes.
Yeah.
And then the
starts-
Italian
I'm
guy
not
goes,
kidding. Like Josh Hutcherson actually goes, "You take her for your
He
grapes."
starts just Father Guido Sarducciing this guy. He's like, you take the diamond for you. It's like, you don't have to do the accent, guy.
No, that's how you speak Italian.
No.
Don't you know, Chuck? You just
take
say
it
things.
to rock.
You just say things in English, throw an A at the end, and go, "You take the diamond, huh?" Yeah.
yeah, that's
See.
exactly how you speak Italian.
But this guy forgives him for his horrible racism.
And he's like,
Just
he's actually like, "You want to take another slide?"
you want the, he says in English,
Yeah.
you want to slide again?
uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's like,
pretty, it's pretty
if
bad.
you spoke English, what the fuck was all that about?
Right.
Why'd you
Well,
make
how
my,
would-
why'd
if
you
you-
make my kid be
Look, all right,
racist?
hold on, Chuck. You are now assuming that if a dinosaur jawbones comes sliding through your vineyard,
Go on.
and some people get out,
Yes.
and you're in Italy,
Yeah.
that you're like, they must be American, and an
Yeah.
Icelandic person.
Yes. Only
Italians
Americans
are not-
would do that
right.
shit.
I know. I just. You're the one being now like that's not even racist.
It
It's
can't be.
It's not racist. It's a fact. Americans are the fucking clowns of the universe.
I'm just saying.
That's
Have you
so
seen our
American.
country?
You're like, hey, pro tip: if someone hops out of a dinosaur boat after having destroyed your vineyard,
They're American.
then you
Yeah.
you go immediately into English. You're like,
Yeah.
the fuck are these motherfuckers doing?
Yeah.
you
You get the
stupid
fuck
American.
out of my vineyard, you son of a bitch.
All right, fair point. Okay,
Thank you.
Have you seen us lately?
all right, yeah, you got a point.
Yeah, but then we got to go back to America so Brendan Fraser can almost punch what's his face in the face.
Oh, he just punches him with arrogance. Is all
Yeah.
he really does. It's like, yeah, well, enjoy your new lab space, Seth Meyers.
Yeah.
I'll be buying a whole new building.
I got a whole
Yeah.
building with
Also, you can read about it in Scientific American.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard of it. It's a magazine. They're still relevant in 2008.
Yep.
Scientific journals will always be relevant.
Sure.
Yeah, the online version.
Yeah. So yeah, they go back home, and kid's mom shows up, and it's just like, yep, Canada time.
I had no idea.
I actually thought that was Hannah.
At first, yeah, because the mom is so nondescript.
Yeah.
But
Oh no, that's right. Her car was there. They were loading shit in her car. I don't know, whatever.
And he gave the kid like, hey, here's another book of your dad's. This one's about Atlantis.
yeah, so
Yeah.
next year, why don't you come for
2 weeks.
3 weeks or
Yeah.
whatever over Christmas vacation? Blah blah blah.
Go to
So
the
the
coast.
sequel is supposed to be
Holiday
them,
road.
Yeah.
journey to Atlantis, but that movie.
Maybe that's how the next one, like the opening scene, wraps up as him like getting off the boat from Atlantis. Like, whew, that was fun. Anyway,
Maybe.
Brendan
Yeah.
Fraser died.
It's a real
Brendan
shame.
Fraser got speared by an angry merfather.
Anyway, what's my next adventure? Yeah.
Wait, is Josh in the next one?
Yes, he's the only one in the next
Okay.
one. Like everyone else was like, no. That's basically it.
That's it.
The kid stole the bird.
Yeah, the kid bird napped.
Yeah. Our ecosystem
supposedly
just got
extinct
fucking
species.
wrecked.
To be fair, that bird wanted to be napped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
He was asking for it. No, I'm saying that bird was all about Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah. He's like, put me in your knapsack.
Put me in your bird knapsack.
Take me home, Tweeta.
Yeah. But he's just like, yeah, I brought this bird back. And then the bird's like, freedom. Fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, no, it flies right into the camera and dies.
Yes. For our
Yeah.
3D
Credits.
amusement.
Yeah. We're gonna have some bioluminescent pigeons in the park, I think, pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Oh, yeah.
Poisoning
This bird,
pigeons in
this
the park.
bird fucks.
Man,
Yeah.
that'll make pigeons useful.
And then
light
there's
up at night.
Yeah.
Go to
Yeah.
the park again.
Yeah,
Hey, parks will be safer at night.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just cut down on our energy bills. We'll just have
Yeah. Just
lit up.
bioluminescent park.
These birds
pigeons.
are lit.
Yeah. AF.
Great job, fam.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some dynamite in the credits.
Yeah.
which was
Well,
not in the movie.
The first segment of the credits is all like items from the film
Mm-hmm.
rotating around in 3D, and you're like, yeah, all right. And then there's this one stick
Then
of
it
dynamite.
switches to the mine carts for a while.
Yeah,
And
It
there's
it's a recap in 3D CG of bullshit, and then you just see a stick of dynamite floating around. And you're like, they didn't use dynamite in this movie. Fuck you.
yeah, it's not a flare.
Yeah. And it just keeps coming back, like all throughout the credits. And you're like, oh man, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be fucking awesome.
can't believe we're reviewing the credits now.
Well, they're gonna pay this off, and like it keeps floating around, and the credits start wrapping up. You're like, oh man, this is gonna set up the next one. It's gonna be great. And then it just a tiny explosion behind the title, just like a journey to the center of the earth, and this little stick of dynamite goes, and the titles go, whoosh. That's it.
Yep.
Boy, what a great payoff! I'm
Yeah,
glad.
so
that-
good. Glad we waited around for the whole credits for that.
Yeah, it was magnificent.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was great.
It was magnesium.
Let's rate it.
All right.
I'm tired of talking about this.
Okay.
Hmm.
Man, everyone's just chomping at the bit here.
Well, I just don't know how to rate this exactly. I actually had a lot of fun watching it.
Uh-huh.
It's real dumb. The CG is pretty bad. Brendan Fraser is out there trying to make this, watchable. He's doing a good job. Josh Hutcherson is honestly not that bad. Amy Bream, I think is her name, is fine. It's
Anita,
yeah.
Yeah.
I need a better agent.
Anita Bream is fine. Those are the only three
That's-
people in the movie.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
The CG is bad. Some of the jokes hit pretty well. I don't know. This movie made like $300 million
Something like that. Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yes. Good point.
yeah. I don't remember I don't remember this movie coming out at all.
Mm-mm.
But apparently it did, and it did fairly well.
Yes.
Was Brendan Fraser still hot in 2008?
Oh,
A hot
Fraser
commodity?
is always hot.
I mean, yes, but was he a hot commodity?
he was a get. Like you could get him and put his name above the title.
Wait, so he wasn't a get. He
As
was
in
just
he was available.
Yeah.
By that token, ladies, I'm a get. As in you can get me
I mean,
easily.
this
Change
also
your Twitter
came,
profile to.
this
I'm
also
a get.
came out around the time of that fourth Mummy movie, which everyone's like, they made a fourth Mummy movie, but
Yeah, it even had Jet Li in it. It never still like, oh, what?
yeah.
That didn't happen.
So I think collectively, just all of us were not paying attention to these kinds of movies when they were coming out. We're
guess.
just like, that's for the kids. No, thank you. So, yeah, I mean, he's still a name.
Did you land on a rating, or are you still?
No, I'm still kind of, trying to hem it in.
All right.
Um,
See what that hymn's worth.
yeah. I really don't know. Like, I could probably go at least 8 jocks,
Okay.
maybe 2. I don't know.
All right. Matter of fact, this is the same year as that Mummy movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was a get.
I don't know. It's hard to rate this stupid thing because it's not bad, but I mean, you don't need to see it. Nobody needs to see this movie.
Okay.
It the only thing this movie has in and of itself has not enriched my life in any way.
Mm-hmm.
The experience of enjoying it with you guys was
That was
worth
fun.
something.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Definitely. I will never forget it until like 6 minutes after I leave the studio tonight.
Oh yeah.
I guess a jocks. I'm gonna think about
I
it.
guess a jocks. Okay.
Yeah,
I will note that in the official log.
yeah. I reserve the right to change that before we call it for the evening.
Okay.
All right.
Fine.
I'm gonna think about it some more while you guys talk.
Okay. I'm giving it a bag. Only because I can't say you need to see it. I just there's a jocks is a recommendation, and I can't in any way say, hey, you should probably see that. There's a couple of jokes that work. I actually feel like Brendan Fraser is kind of lowballing it for a lot of this movie. Like, he's screaming a lot, but there's not, especially like the first 30 minutes, I felt sorry for him. He felt like a broken man. Like, just there's
he
something.
was a broken man.
I know, but it was conveyed.
I mean, in the film, he was supposed to be a broken man. He was
I don't
sad about
know.
everything. His research was being shut down. His brother had died so many years ago, and he obviously wasn't over it yet.
Yeah.
Seth Meyers was being a dick to him. He was stuck with this stupid ass kid.
Yeah. I think as a 15-minute theme park attraction, this is great.
Oh, I bet it's fucking wild. That minecart thing is probably really good.
Yeah. But watching it, I don't need it. I don't need this.
I don't need it. I don't
So,
need it.
One bag. I don't actively dislike it or anything. It's just I can't recommend it. So That's the best rating I can give it.
I'm confused because I had to check back because this harkens a lot in my mind to the Spy's Kid.
Mm-hmm.
In so many ways, in the bad CG and the obviously laws of physics don't mean anything. This is written for children. Who the fuck cares?
Right.
You seem to like those a lot more than I did.
Because I was very much enjoying Antonio Banderas.
Okay.
Because he is going for it, especially in that first one.
Sure.
But like those movies had like a billion cameos and a bunch of fun people and like Ricardo Montalban and just,
Sure.
a very good-natured kids movie world going on. It didn't seem it wasn't fart jokes and
No.
Bullshit.
Some of it was, but
They got worse as they went along, obviously, but
I don't know. I didn't. The only one I even remotely cared for was the first Spy Kids.
Mhm.
But I think this is on par with that. I can give it a jocks. I can say this is somewhat of a recommendation.
okay.
I'm trying to just rate the movie because I had a whole lot of fun watching this tonight. That's the weird thing. Is like I'm trying to rate this as a divorced. You're not hanging out with us, having a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I do that, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes like no. We all like you guys might have been miserable and like no fuck you, this movie is great. I'm saying sometimes I do that, but like this one I'm trying to half say you're gonna watch this on your own and you're gonna be like, why are you recommending this at all? Or you might like it because it's dumb fun.
I reserve the right to say at some point in the future if I ever see the 3D version to go, yeah, that's better. But
well, we do have a report from the field about watching it in 3D. But actually, in VR, Bill from the chat says that he watched it on his Oculus Quest.
Well.
And it looked pretty good. So,
okay.
Bill always does his homework. Good job, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Oculus Quest to the center of the earth. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I was almost tempted to go 2, but then I just feel like I'm overselling the movie because you're probably not going to have the experience that we had, which was fun. Between Josh Hutcherson jokes and
unless you pay for super premium tier Patreon, in which case we'll come watch it with
also
you.
There's another thing I can't believe we until now have neglected to mention. We were taking our dumb bullshit 3D stuff at the camera. At least double or triple that is the number of times Josh Hutcherson says guys.
Oh yeah,
a
la
Goonies. Yeah,
it's a very Goonies-esque.
Like what is it
high
like?
Goonies
like
rating.
Young teen kids go underground. You have to say guys like a billion times,
and he does.
He sure does.
Yep.
Wow. Don't play that drinking game, kids.
No, you will die. I do want to say the disc has a Brendan Fraser commentary track on it. So,
oh man,
I don't know if that'll be sad or fun. You'd be like, here's where I separated my shoulder.
Here's where I burned my hand really bad.
Yeah. So
I wish I had time to watch these commentary tracks.
Me too. I wish I did too. But also, just looking at the back of the disc, this apparently just came with glasses. Like, this is not you need a 3D TV. You just need whichever glasses it came with. Yeah.
I saw on the Wikipedia page that it came out in, like, the green and magenta, I think?
Yeah.
That was weird. So is that the 3D version? We have to watch it with the weird fucked up glasses?
Yeah. I think so.
Off the disc, not the...
Because, like, on the disc, you get a choice of 2D or 3D, but this is not branded as a Blu-ray 3D thing. So...
That was probably before that became a thing on the home market, I guess.
Yeah. Or maybe it was just cheaper to do it that way.
True.
Who knows? It's Walden Media. Which
I'm actually kind of curious. Is it from someone who watched it in like the VR world? Did you actually rent or purchase it in like a 3D version on like the Oculus store or something?
It's on Pornhub.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I don't know.
Brazzers. The thumbnail is just that fish trying to bite the lady's ass. Like, oh, I got to see that. I wish I was that fish.
Bill says no comment, so
all right. Well, there
we
go.
have to assume that it just magically landed on his Oculus.
No, I'm actually curious. Like, I have an Oculus thing, and I'm curious if there's like how you do 3D movie shit on there. Really,
on the Oculus?
Yeah. I don't know if there's a store for shit like that, or I don't know.
Who knows?
It's not important.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break, shall we?
Okie dokie. Oh, they don't offer 3D movies on any store. You have to convert it yourself from the 3D Blu-ray.
Ooh.
I think we all know what that means. You got to convert it yourself from the 3D Blu-ray.
That's probably what that means. I gotta say, the Oculus Quest is actually pretty fucking sweet. If you're wanting to get it, if you're wanting to dick around with VR stuff, it's a pretty nice little machine.
The Quest is the new, cheaper one.
That's the like completely standalone one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it's, but it like the graphics on it are
like
good.
hook it up to a computer, or how do you do things on it?
You literally turn it on, put it on your face, and
it's like, does it run off of Wi-Fi? Like,
yeah,
does it get its internet
yeah,
stuff?
yeah. You turn it on, and it actually. I mean,
You
it
got
comes
some handles.
Well, it comes with the same touch controllers, and like when you're painting your room, there's a camera on the front, so you actually like see a like sort of a low res version of a room, so you can still walk around and like say this is my safe play zone. But then you can full 360 turn around. You're not like beholden to the sensors or anything like that. And I played that like Darth Vader whatever VR game. The graphics on it are good. Like,
okay. How much is that Oculus Quest?
I think retail is like $300.
Oh, that's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Especially considering,
Like I said, it's a full standalone thing.
yeah, standalone, and the other Oculus was
About that.
what? Oh, I thought it was like $600.
Well, it started that.
Okay.
They've
I haven't priced.
they
it out
really
VR
dropped because they were like, you got to have a kick-ass computer, so
Gotcha.
we're not going to try to.
Mine apparently won't run VR.
Yeah.
Like, even though mine is decently spec'd out.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like that Quest, if you're just looking for a cheap and easy way to fuck with it, because it's all standalone. It's pretty cool.
I still want to get a PSVR. I just haven't seen them at a reasonable price. The version 1, which was the kind of shittier of the versions, they dropped the price on that ridiculously low, but all of those sold out in seconds. But I'd still like to get one. PSVR is pretty decent.
So 2 things.
Okay.
So this version can be watched with the red blue glasses
Okay.
on any TV. They released a proper Blu-ray 3D version 4 years later. So there's that. The other thing is that this came out on the weekend that also saw Hellboy 2 and Hancock. Hancock.
That's available in Pornhub now.
Yeah. So it came in third that week.
No, that's what you do while you're watching Pornhub.
We can do both.
Oh, okay.
You can watch Hancock while Hancocking.
I should rewatch that movie. Like, I mean,
That movie's all right.
I know. I feel like it's one of those things. Like, at the time I was just like, no, and now I feel like, yeah, now it would work.
Yeah. I have a beef with the way that movie came out on home video. Oh, do you? Yeah. Beef? I do. I have beef. Beef.
What's your beef, John? Explain it.
They spoiled that movie's twist on the Blu-ray cover. They spoil that movie's twist on the cover.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Which movie? Hancock?
Hancock. Hancock.
Yeah, spoiling the plot twist.
Hancock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't spoil plot twist. Hancock. You got beef with you.
Oh, the next weekend, The Dark
Hancock.
Knight came out and fucking obliterated
okay.
everything. So,
All right, should we do a second half?
I guess.
Get it out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Well, this was a pretty shitty summer.
Was it?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Indiana Jones, X-Files movie, Space Chimps,
Well, you had me.
The Incredible Hulk.
I like Incredible Hulk.
I like Incredible.
I like Incredible.
I like it.
Meet Dave.
That's a great movie. I like to meet Dave.
Jack Nicholson over there. That's
It's
a great movie.
It's just weird.
Like to watch Meet Dave.
I like Norbit.
Yeah.
Meet Dave.
Here's
Pluto Nash.
Johnny. Yeah. I'm Christian Slater.
True romance. I'm
Well.
the cuffs.
Yep. There it is. I was in cuffs.
Oh my god.
Man.
Anytime you could drop cuffs references.
Cuffs. Good reference.
Thanks. Here we go. Oh, that was terrible. Didn't Miyagi for
Fuck off.
All right, welcome back.
Hey, BMFcast,
Yeah.
half number 2. Woo.
We're here for more halving.
Right.
I like halves.
Go.
Dave, I watched some things. But
Did you watch new movies?
no.
No, I finished some new television,
Okay.
so I'll talk about that real quick. Then you can talk about movies. I finished Glow. I think at last time of report, I was maybe halfway through the season. Boy, second half of that season really kicks your fucking ass.
Is that true?
I'm gonna let him explain that, and
Okay.
then I will confirm or deny.
It is. There's a lot of heart wrenching going on. There's a lot of good ass stuff, and also a lot of heartbreaking stuff. The Christmas episode goes real hard.
Yeah. It's real weird because like they do something, and I don't want to be spoilery at all, but they do something that's very interesting because they kind of go like, the 80s and times past weren't all magical rose-tinted glasses bullshit that we remember. Like we've come a long ways and there's some bullshit, but it like never gets so preachy to like make the show stop being fun.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing is that it really, really rides a line really well of like, hey, some of the shit we were doing, not okay.
Well, they do a lot of positivity on that front, and then they kind of slap you in the face with like, but also remember, people were still, as in the majority, not cool. So just remember that, even though we're being positive about it, people were still assholes. I mean, people are still assholes, and there are certain segments of people that are getting even more asshole-ish every second of every day. But yeah, they sort of snap you into focus for a second, but it doesn't stop the momentum of that episode.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, I don't know if it's just because I am generally more emotional about Christmas and Christmas time stuff, but that whole Christmas episode had me like.
I know it's just a good ass episode because
Lots of onion choppings.
Chuck can attest that Christmas joy brings me very little joy.
This is true.
Yeah,
He hates
I'm
Christmas.
a humbug motherfucker.
He's Mr.
but
Scrooge.
I'm just saying that's a good ass episode of television.
Yes, it absolutely is. A little bit older thing that I didn't realize how caught up I was on it, but Archer. I was looking for something to watch the other night and settled, like I was just flipping through Hulu. I was like, oh, Archer. I'm probably like 5 seasons behind on Archer, so I went back 5 seasons from the most current, and I was like, oh no, I've already seen all of these. Went to the next season, and the next season, and the next season, and it turns out I was only 2 seasons behind. So Dreamland and
I don't know.
Danger Island,
I'm way behind.
I think, yeah. Those were the 2 seasons that I haven't watched. And I really liked Dreamland and Danger Island, even though they are whatever they are in the canon or timeline of Archer. It it was really fun to see a different take on the timeline. Like, the characters are all, for the most part, the same. There are a couple characters that are shuffled around for comedy's sake, but they're really good seasons of cartoon alcoholism-based television.
All right.
I enjoyed them a lot. I feel like I kept hearing bad things about Dreamland and Danger Island, but I really quite enjoyed them. And I guess I'm kind of looking forward to the next season of Archer.
May or may not be the last. I don't know.
I think they said it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows?
I feel like they've wavered on it several times.
Also, the Great British Baking Show is back. It's weekly. It's still good television. I watched one episode of that, so
Cool.
that's a good reason to have Netflix, is what I'm saying.
So that's it?
That's it. That's all I got.
That's your adventures in television?
That's my TV corner.
Okay. Yeah, I went down a movie journey. I mean, I'm still watching Breaking Bad, which I think I mentioned, so that's still happening in the background, but I took a brief pause to go through a movie journey. I thought about buying this set several times digitally, and there was always something that held me back from doing it. I bought the Rambo quadrilogy.
Aha.
Oh, because they're Lionsgate, and they wouldn't have.
There's that, and also I want to say, like, at first it was like, okay, First Blood is in 4K, the others aren't, and then they were like, well, we did 2 and 3, and 2008's not. Now they're all in 4K Dolby Vision, at least on the Apple ecosystem. I don't know. Your mileage may vary on some of the others, because I poked around, and they're not necessarily on some of the others.
Okay.
But anyway, I was just like, all right, all 4 in 4K, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
It was like $17 or something like that. Which I thought was a good price, and I'm sure
Pretty good price for 4 films.
It's about to be outdated because there's going to be yet another one this year, but whatever.
Last Blood.
Yeah. So let me talk about my Rambo journey, both in terms of my life and recently.
Okay.
I've obviously seen First Blood. We've talked about this before. First Blood is like, I keep saying it's a real movie. It's mostly a real movie. It's like it's the closest of all of them that could be considered a film, I think. You know, like, and arguably you can say this is pretty close to a film. There's still some goofy shit. There's still some, like, action movie tropes. There's a lot of action movie tropes that this helps start, you know, but
Yeah.
it's still, like, pretty close and it's a pretty grounded look at something, you know, based on a novel, blah, blah, blah. You know, it has more of a film feeling. Like, you couldn't just be like, oh, that's ridiculous, stupid violence for no reason. They obviously get there, but, well, you know, First Blood is First Blood. I'd seen it. First Blood Part 2. I think I'd always said I've seen First Blood Part 2, but I think it's one of those movies where it's like, I had never sat and watched it beginning to end. I had just seen bits and pieces of it throughout my life that it was like, I feel like I've seen this movie. I think this is the first time I've ever sat down from beginning to end and watched First Blood Part 2.
Uh-huh.
Rambo, whatever. The naming schemes are weird on these.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And, you know, I mean, I don't know what else to say. It is the archetype for the kind of shit that we do on this show.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel kind of bad that, like, I'd never just sat and watched it as an entire movie, because it's literally everything that we like in our dumb action movies, to, you know, turned up to ridiculously stupid levels.
Yeah. The one guy he kills with a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Not even the main villain of the movie. It's just a guy.
Well, it's the main villain of that side, not the main villain.
Right.
Yeah. He's the main bad guy on, you know, in the, like, the POW camp situation. He's not the main bad guy of the movie per se. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's stupid and it's crazy and it's, you know, explosive arrows and all kinds of crazy shit. There's helicopter dogfighting and it's
Yeah.
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 Now, I had never seen a spec, a frame, anything of Rambo 3.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of shit about Rambo 3 over the years, so that my expectations for Rambo 3 were just non-existent. I was like, well, this is going to be the shitty third entry, you know, the joke third movie's always the worst kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rambo 3 is fine. Like, Rambo 3 was perfectly acceptable. It's not 2, but it's like, it's it's kind of exactly what you want at the same time. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like unfair accusations have been hurled towards Rambo 3 because it is just fine. It has plenty of goofy, plenty of everything else in it that I don't know. I don't understand what's wrong with Rambo 3. Like, why people are always just like, nah. This is where we turned on this series. And I'm like, no, like it's better than like other series' part 3 that they kept going, you know? So yeah, it's weird that was the nail in the coffin for that series for so long. You know, I don't get it
because then we entered the 90s and there was no one to fight.
Yeah, except then we get to Grandpa and proves.
Yeah, but that was 2008. I'm just saying, in the 90s, what was there?
Yeah, Myanmar or Burma, that conflict had been going on for like 60 years.
Yeah,
that was always there. He always could have gone to save those people or whatever. I'm saying there's been plenty of genocide and terrible things throughout the world that Rambo could have gone and murdered for us.
He was tired.
Maybe. And so, right, and that brings me back. Like, obviously, I've talked about 2008's John Rambo, whatever you want to call it. It has multiple names depending on which cut you see and where you see it and things like that. Because the titles for these movies are downright confusing.
Right.
I don't know that I need to revisit that, but I mean that movie is. I don't need to revisit it as far as talking about it because I think I talked about it at length some time ago when it first came onto my radar. That movie is just visceral bliss. Like, that movie is...
It's certainly visceral.
I mean, that movie is just... It's crazy how... I still think... I mean, there are things that look crazier and feel crazier violence-wise, like The Raid and Dread and... you know, whatnot, but like that is literally downright the most violent movie I've ever seen. Just in terms of like, oh God, like I mean, like, I mean, not even like not even like the cathartic release at the end where he is just pulping people with the 50 caliber machine gun. I'm talking about like the straight up like genocide scenes are just like, oh Jesus,
yeah,
like I mean. It is just like nonstop brutal violence throughout that movie, and obviously it's not everyone's cup of tea. Like it is a hard pill to swallow, but if you have the stomach for violence, getting to the end of that movie and getting to the, all right, Rambo is finally hit his mark and is ready to like step in and save everybody. Just that blissful release that you get when he just like starts murdering fools is just amazing. I'm guessing maybe you don't agree, or is that movie just too hard for you overall?
No, I mean I don't disagree with what you're saying. It's just one of those movies where it was just I was afraid of it going into it because I had heard how violent it was, and then like when I watched it, I was like, yeah, they were right. I mean, this is good. It's telling a good story, but it's one of those movies where, like, are they actually murdering these people? It seems like they might be. It's got the level of violence in it is so not just guy standing on cliff comically screaming while an exploding arrow comes at him.
It's suddenly like
it's real violence. I mean, it's and it's meant to be. I think that's what he was trying to do. He was just like, look, violence is awful. Like, this is not a cartoon. I know we tried to make Rambo a kid's thing in the 80s. That was a mistake.
Right.
Rambo will fuck you up.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. I feel like, I mean, Rocky Balboa was kind of the same thing. Like, it was just sort of like, we turned Rocky into a cartoon. You know, it's like the fact that he's fighting Mr. T and ending communism and things like that. You know, don't get me wrong. These are great Rockies back in the day.
Yeah.
Watching them with that mind frame, bringing Rocky Balboa into like, oh shit, no, Rocky has like brain damage and like shit is still bad for him despite, I mean, like showing him like living in his same rundown house, like after being like heavyweight champion and all this stuff. It's like, that's a weird arc to like,
he had his own robot.
Yeah. Take it back to, you know, like you know, it's just like, oh no, I'm barely scraping by. I'm teaching young kids in the gym, you know, it's just like there's that level of like, nah, it wasn't all like roses and everything. Like, life sucks and we'll get you back down eventually. And I feel like that's why it's fascinating to watch like Rocky Balboa and John Rambo. I'm going to call it that just because it's easier to call it that.
Right.
But like those are two fascinating movies where it's just like, I don't even think it's like, you could almost make the argument for like the DC universe like grimdark bullshit, but I don't think so. I think it's fascinating because it's not someone else coming along and doing it. It's like it's him maturing and realizing like I'm going to take these things that became almost parodies of themselves and show them back in a real light, back kind of how where they originally started. Because I mean, First Blood is like that is a dark, thematically dark movie. Yeah. It's a little goofy now, some of like the motorcycle stunts and stuff like that. When you look at him now, and it's just like he's just launching over the railroad tracks and stuff in that motorcycle and whatnot, and diving hundreds of feet and surviving off of to a tree and stuff. It's like some of it's still like this is implausible goofiness, but
right.
Thematically that movie is still very dark, and it's like and then it just became cartoon character. Granted, still dealing with real shit like abandoned POWs in Vietnam, real issue, especially happening in what was that 84 when that came out. It's like that's a long time. Like and showing them as emaciated as they would be, having been stuck in a prisoner of war camp for 10 years or so. Like that's crazy. And it's like, and you still get that cathartic release of like, yeah, Rambo's going to come in and blow everything up. Let's fucking do this. But and also it's weird because I feel like there's a strange thing that happened, and it's. Maybe it's just me like coming at it with like modern tinted glasses, and I'm not even remotely about to try to get political. But there's a way to look at like Rambo 2 and 3 era Rambo, where I mean you're watching this like explosion of cartoon violence, and you're like, yeah, this is fun and everything, and then it's like they end it with like that like fucking like patriotic bullshit song that they always kind of do. Like, I mean, one of them is fucking Frank Stallone, which is like, he can go fuck himself anyway. So it's like, one of them is like, there's that realm anyway, because it's just like, there's like that whole bullshit, like Lee Greenwood, like, fuck yeah, America thing at the end. And it's like, I don't know if this is totally right. You know, like, there's a lot of like, there's just like a lot going wrong with some of those. And then like, I just feel like John Rambo like comes around and goes like, it's, it rolls back around to just like it's he ain't heavy, he's my brother. It's like this is more of a famous song, sang by one of the Righteous Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, look, spoilers. First Blood Part 2, we're ultimately the bad guys.
Oh yeah.
Like this isn't just like the Vietnamese are evil. We got to go. It's like no. There's some evil, shady shit that we've done. This isn't a fuck yeah America movie. It's like
I know, yeah.
It's
that's what's even weird is like ending it on that like
that's
that credit sequence. It's and then if you think about it, it's like then he goes and like teaches the Taliban how to fight in part 3. So there's weirdly future prophetic thing happening there of like. Yeah, maybe Rambo's wrong, and I mean that's the thing is like the way that's the other beautiful thing I think about John Rambo is it's like. That movie ends, and like Julie Benz staring at him of like, "Thank you for saving us," but also Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah,
like it's. Yeah. I mean, the fact that they're Christian missionaries that makes it a little funnier. But I'm just saying, like there's that horrific. Like I'm very happy to be alive, but holy shit, like I'm also horrified by everything that has just happened. Like so, it just ends that movie on like a. Yeah, the battle's done and we kind of won, but yeah, it's just it's a really fascinating way to end that movie, and then just like that long walk to his house, like where he's going back to maybe see his dad who may be alive. I don't know, like that's a I just think that movie's like severely underrated, and I think it even hit me in a completely different way than it did before because I watched it. 2010, 2009, 2010, somewhere around there is where I discovered it. It was just like, fuck yeah, violence, let's do this. And it's like, the world has changed even in that small amount of time again. Yeah. And it's just like, it just hit me in a completely different way where it was like, God damn, this violence. And then it's just like, yeah, but also he's going to fucking mow some people down and get some sort of justice. But I'm just saying, it's a marvel to behold if you can stomach it, is all I'm trying to get to.
The weird thing about it is that there are 4 entirely different movies. Like all 4 of them.
I don't know. 2 and 3 are like cut from the exact same mold. They really are.
Yeah, but 3 has this like sheen of take us seriously thing to it. That 2 doesn't have. 2 has like a wink of you're gonna get what you want here, and 3 is like. Yeah, I mean, I know my hair is ridiculous, but let's just.
I see. I don't agree. I feel like you just substitute the lady that he has the mild romantic interest in 2 for the kid. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? It's like and you've got the same dynamic.
Yeah.
You just have this like you have this innocent person who shouldn't probably be there, and it's Well, the end's a little better for the kid.
I
but spoilers.
yeah. I mean, I like Rambo 3. I think it's the least of the 4, but I just think there's on the surface there is a level of fun with 2 that isn't present in 3. 3 just seems to be up its own ass of just like war never changes or whatever it's doing.
Maybe I don't know.
I also feel like it was a little late.
But also he kills a helicopter with a tank by jousting it.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. Rambo 3 almost seems like aren't you late to the boo Russia, how dare you? It just seemed like it was a little late in world geopolitics.
No, I feel like, he beat communism in Rocky 4, but then he had to like double tap it in Rambo 3.
Okay.
Just like had to make sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, good job.
Anyway, last thing I'll say about the Rambo, and this is the weirdest thing and the weirdest compliment I can possibly give.
Mm-hmm.
The attention to continuity in those movies is fucking amazing. It really is, and it's not in your face continuity.
Yeah,
there is literally like when he falls out the tree and gashes his arm in the first one, that scar is in all the Rambo movies subsequent. When he gets the heated up knife to the eye in 2, that scar is in the subsequent movies.
I do remember that.
The little green booty he gets from the lady as she's dying is in 3 that he gives to the kid.
Yep.
The attention to detail in those movies is fucking miraculous. Like
I think that's all him. I think that's him having a hand in a lot of the creative process.
So many movies that just like, forget, jettison the last thing, move on.
Yeah.
The fact that like his scars carry over from movie to movie. Now he never fully de-shirts in John Rambo.
No.
But like his eye scar's there for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like, and I think you can see the arm scar at one point because he like
arm scar
lifts, he's like flexing or something.
Still an arm scar.
But I'm just saying, like that is absolutely fascinating that like that actually carried over to the movies and something like that where the audience, the 99% of that audience is not paying any attention to that.
I agree.
I just think that's.
I mean, you certainly probably would not have picked up on it as those movies were theatrical.
Oh
releases.
no! It's because I watched them all within 2 or 3 days of each other.
Right.
Where I was just like, holy shit, his arm scar is back.
Yeah, I believe when I did my marathon of them a few years back, I said the same thing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous TV show-esque continuity for movies that came out like 3, 4, 5 years apart and then one 20 years later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then another one 11 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still want to watch Homefront.
Oh, is that supposed to be a Rambo movie?
Yeah.
Is that the Jason Statham
Yes,
one?
it is.
Isn't that what Last Blood is like? Looks like the same plot though.
It kind of. It was supposed to be Rambo on his farm.
Okay.
And like shit happens. I mean, the script is still credited to Stallone. Like it's a Stallone written script. But just for whatever reason, they didn't want to make it a Rambo movie.
Also, I forgot that First Blood was co-written by James Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird.
A little weird, yeah.
Yeah. But explains the Carolco connection later. Yeah.
R.I.P. Carolco.
Anyway, that's all. Just Rambo movies. I'll watch them.
Good on you.
Check that off that list.
Excellent.
You were ready for the 5th one.
I sure am. So,
Anything
I
else?
think we're done, right? Do I have some contact information, perhaps?
Yeah. BMFcast.com is the website. Our email address is bmf@bmfcast.com. And our telephone number, where you can leave us a voicemail message with the one, the only, the Garfield phone. The BMFcast hotline, 9105-JOCKS-BMF or 910-556-9263. And if in the year of our Lord 2019, you are somehow left with some disposable income, we would appreciate you throwing a little bit of it over to us at our Patreon, patreon.com/BMFcast. Just a few shekels a month will get you some amazing content, some bonus content, we got some shows over there like Doctor Who U, BMFcast Extra.
Yeah, it's like a whole other first half with just Chuck and I every week.
Yeah, so, if you hate me and Mackie, then go listen to that for an extra buck.
Yeah.
Yes, pay $1 to show how much you dislike.
Yeah. Show us how much you hate us by giving us money and listening to more of us.
Give us money for half the content.
Right.
But more of it.
Right.
Yeah. What a bargain.
An additional podcast divided by 2
Exactly.
for $1.
It's simple economics, folks.
Right.
It's science.
Yeah. You can also check into our Twitter, BMFcast, at BMFcast if you're still on Twitter.
If you have not escaped that dumpster fire.
Right.
Yeah.
There's still some funny stuff that pops up on Twitter every once in a while.
Yeah.
I look through my feed about once every 4 days. Meh.
Meh. Indeed.
But you can catch up on all the goings-on, like we tweet when we're going live on the YouTubes. And also, youtube.com/BMFcast is where we do all the live streams. We live stream this podcast every week on Wednesdays, starting at about 9:30. I don't know if...
You could look at our ugly faces.
Yeah, you can look at our ugly faces instead of hearing our ugly faces.
Yeah.
You're like, I wonder what those ugly motherfuckers look like. Well, you can find out.
Yeah.
Sure can.
Yeah.
We have found through contributions of patrons, we have found the most resilient cameras in the world. They can stand up to our ugly ass mugs. But for real, if you didn't know, we live stream this every week at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time.
And it's archived shortly thereafter.
Shortly thereafter. So if you want to, look in on what we look like when we're podcasting, you can do that.
Yeah.
But also, don't forget the episodes release on Friday, and you can find them at bmfcast.com.
You can find
or
them
on iTunes.
right where you're listening to them right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or who knows how you may have come across this podcast? Maybe you found it on a thumb drive in the future or in the past.
In which case, these things probably don't exist. And
they might.
hopefully there's more
Spotify might still be.
MP3s.
Yell at your car to take you to Spotify.
Right.
Say, hey, Spotify.
And your car's like, hold on, please.
BMFcast.
Beep, boop, boop, shh.
Right.
Maybe
But that's
you
just
work-
the side of it. That's just the sound of your car driving over poor people to
Oh.
get to where the internet is stored.
Yeah. Maybe you
in
work
the
for
future.
the Library of Congress in the future and you're archiving our show for historical documents.
If you're
And
missing some, check Spotify. Check the Spotify archive. Or Stitcher. Or iTunes.
I don't know if we're on Stitcher anymore. Are we on Stitcher?
Why would we not be?
Probably.
Is it still a relevant app for your relevant mobile device?
Probably not. I believe Stitcher is one of the ones that's like...
Here, let me dust off ye old Stitcher.
I still have Stitcher on my phone, but
Do you?
I don't
well,
know
you're the one
why.
that should be checking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me, it's going to be like,
Okay.
do you want to reinstall this thing?
I think Stitcher is the one that's like inserting ads into everybody's podcast.
Ew.
Yeah, absolutely, that's
Don't go there.
I don't know if
girlfriend.
Spotify does that. I don't-
Stitcher for podcasts.
I got Stitcher. Oh, they got a new logo.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it crashed.
sounds about right.
no longer relevant. I use Pocket Casts now, which is pretty
Pocket
good.
casts.
Yeah.
They're like casts in your pocket.
Exactly. That's why I use it, because they're in my pocket. I mean, it's not like I listen to this show.
It's like you could put that next to your Ron Popeil Pocket Fisherman.
Right.
Yeah.
Pocket Cast. Yeah. Exactly.
Look how big Paco's bald spot is.
I can cast and I can pocket cast.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm doing pocket fishing, it's a definitely different thing. But
Yeah,
Do you use
that's when you go.
lures?
That's when you go noodling, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, we should probably get out of here, right? Like,
Yeah. Fleshlight.com.
Yeah.
Offer code
What?
BMFcast.
No, do not.
we've got off the rails worse than Brendan Fraser and Josh Hutcherson in a minecart.
They went off the rails.
Yeah,
And Anita Bream.
yeah. Well, I need to bring us to an end here. So
There you go.
let's get out of here. I'm Harlow.
I'm BJ.
I'm Chuck.
And for Mackie, this is BMFcast out. We'll see you next time.
I need to bring us to the end. Ah!
Like that.
Ha! I kill me.
Yeah.
Someone needs to.
I like how I delivered that last line. That's nice.
Ha!
For Mackie, this is BMFcast out. We'll see you next time. Next time on Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved mysteries.
Stitcher.
Why are podcasts still a thing? Find out next week on Unsolved Mysteries.
It's like, fuck you.
You have to go update it, maybe?
Robert Stackcast. Every week, tune in just here. Boo! 'Cause he's dead.
Stitcher for podcast.
Stitcher.
Stitcher. It's for podcasts. For your granny.
Steve. Come download some podcasts
Ah,
on
see,
me,
told
Steve. We're just trying to find out if we're on Stitcher or not.
I don't know if we're still on the Stitcher. Oh.
Oh?
Our most recent episode is Nighthawks.
Oh, so no, we're not really on Stitcher.
Well,
anymore.
maybe that's just where I stopped thinking.
Oh.
Nobody's on Stitcher anymore.
Stitcher isn't Stitcher anymore.
1 star, we're in.
1 star, we're in.
Yep. Goes as far as yep, we're still on Stitcher.
Woohoo!
It's still relevant.
Hallelujah.
Our relevant devices. As long as you update them.
Well, if you'd used it in the last decade, maybe it would have
Yeah.
thought to update.
More relevant.
Yeah.
But
Man,
probably don't listen
remember
to
when
us,
we
sir.
used to say relevant mobile device all the time? That was fun.
Mine still says that on my signature.
Does it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sent from my relevant mobile device. I just get tired of sent from my Galaxy. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care.
No, those are dumb.
My agnostic signature.
I think mine still says
Sent from an email program.
my my favorite Mitch Hedberg quote is, "If you're flammable and have legs, you're never blocking a fire exit." Which is a little bit ableist if you're gonna, mince words. But because some people who have legs can't really, use them all that well.
That's why they are probably still flammable.
They are, yes.
And they'd probably want to get out of the way.
They would, but, it might not. What with the legs not working.
1-star review is still right there.
On
Hey, 1 star, we're in.
On Stitcher?
Can we dispute that?
We have a 1-star review on Stitcher?
No, on the podcast.
On the podcast?
On iTunes?
Yeah.
Oh.
Man, what the heck happened to this podcast? He says heck. He's offended that we're politically correct and he says heck.
People on the internet are fucking stupid, man.
Spoilers, we Colbert showed you the whole time.
Now they check their privilege on a daily basis. What a
Yeah,
tragedy.
well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, check your fucking privilege. Check it.
You are supposed to be cognizant of the advantages that you're given for your place of birth, your race of birth.
I'm honestly worried about the people out there who are like, why don't you like rape? Like, well, I shouldn't have to explain this to you.
Go cry in your fucking fedora.
Because I've had people ask me that in the YouTube comments for when a horror movie gets rapey. They're like, how come you're okay with people dying, but then you call out the rape scenes? I'm like, because I don't want to let people get raped. I understand that people aren't getting killed, but there's someone simulating rape on this person, and I'm not interested in watching it.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, and some people just have zero empathy, and they're never gonna understand it, and so those people can go fucking fuck themselves.
I mean, nobody else will.
Right. Hopefully. Well.
I mean, I think we
We're really not like these flaming SJW sons of Hillary that people seem to think we are. I mean, we are, but we're
curbed the use of certain words as society also curbed them.
right.
Like, we were never doing it to be mean, and when society was like, hey, you shouldn't say that, we were like, yeah, you're right, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
And let's make an effort not to. But it's not... A lot of our movies are R-rated just...
Murder
shit
fest.
happening
Yeah.
all over the place. It's...
Look, we're trying to be a little bit better. Every day we're trying to be a little bit better. About the world in general. We're still fucking goofballs that love tits.
We do love tits.
I like tits.
We just,
Mail that to myself.
yeah. Are you putting a gentleman's copyright on that?
What's it going to be? The band or tits?
Well, you know what I'm choosing. Tits. Anyway, yeah, we're just trying to be less shitty. The world's already shitty enough. We can be a little bit nicer about some things. And so we try to do that. little by little.
I just I want to understand the mindset of somebody saying, "Hey, the world's maybe not the best for everybody. Try to do a little better," and then people are like, "Nah, I'm gonna be worse."
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
That's 4chan and a third of Reddit. Yeah.
we're not really demanding anything. Just try a little.
No, you're not going to change
How
me.
dare you tell me to try? Well, your parents should have, but
Their parents shouldn't have tried in the first place, so that.
No, I'm just saying, like someone telling you to try should not be an offensive thing. Like,
Right.
just try to be better. That's all.
I don't feel like we've ever gotten preachy or. I mean, we don't talk.
Well, that's the least preachy thing I could possibly say. Just like try to be better I'm just saying like that should be a basic rule of life. Of like every day wake up and try to be better. That should be what keeps you going. Not something to set you off.
Yeah.
Trigger you fucking snowflake.
I don't know how much stuff like ends up on the cutting room floor, but I know a couple times we've kind of, admonished people who like things a certain way, but we're never like, it's not become the main thrust of our podcast.
It's in the context of what we just watched.
Right.
It's always. I mean, if we talk about something that's current, it's because it came up in the movie that we watched.
Yeah.
It's not like we just and as an aside, I would just like to comment on this week in politics. Fuck off. It's like that never happens. Unless it's somehow a joke or relevant to a scene that we just saw. Like, when you and I watched the first Project Shadow Chaser, and the bad guy, after monologuing his whole thing, said, "We're going to make this country great again," and then we were like, oh,
whoa.
no. Yeah, we commented on that and said, yeah, people are still fucking evil. So, I mean...
I don't know. I think there's just a certain segment of the population that's going to be like that guy who left us that review, and unfortunately, we can't strike it from the iTunes records or whatever.
I don't think it changes anything.
No, it just, like... My problem with it is it's a 1-star review based on horse shit, and that brings our numbers down based on this guy, just being kind of a shit. Like, we're still at least a 4-star podcast, even if you don't agree with our politics. So at least give us 4 stars and say,
I mean, I don't know. I think you're being a little generous, but...
Look, man, we got to gas ourselves up. Nobody else is going to do it for us.
I just enjoy self-deprecation. So.
I know. Trying to get out of that market a little bit with myself.
All right.
Trying to be happier about myself. Even if it's joking, like joking sadness.
I will always keep this DM that someone sent me on Twitter about the show, but
Yeah?
he sent it to me for some reason because he was like, "Fuck off, you liberal piece of shit. I'll still listen to your awesome podcast, but your liberal tears, although they have sustained me for so long, have become somewhat R-word. Oh, don't bother blocking me. I've done that already. May you drown in a sea of your liberal snowflake tears and bullshit."
Which podcast was it related? Like this podcast?
Yeah.
I just want to see the username, just in case.
Where did this DM come from?
It came from the fucking United Kingdom is where it came from. You fucking idiot.
I mean, like, what medium is all I'm asking? Like,
Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Okay.
And yep, still has me blocked.
You're a snowflake. Like, okay, all right. I'll get on politicking. All these fucking assholes out.
Oh, he's standing up now.
Yeah. All these fucking assholes out here who are like, ha ha, liberal snowflake, get so tweaked out of order whenever anybody wants, like, to stop being bothered about something. Whenever anybody wants the most minor concession at all, the same people who are crying snowflake begin bitching and doing that whole flip-flop thing where, like, oh, if you want me to recognize that you're gay, well then it's attack helicopter jokes, ha ha ha. Like, I just cannot fucking understand that the fuck your feelings crowd is the one that gets their feelings hurt the fastest.
Well,
It's
you want to talk about people being triggered? President of the United States has gone on a 15-day rant now because the government weather society said, no, you're wrong. The hurricane's not coming to Alabama, sir. Just correct your misstatement. That's all you have to do. And 15 days later, he's still doing it.
yeah. There was a really good statement that came out from the assistant administrator of the National Oceanic Atmospheric Association. It wasn't a speech.
You can't just say Noah. Or you're gonna offend the religious crowd.
I didn't want anybody to think I was talking about the fucking Bible.
Oh yeah. Fucking Old Testament, yo.
Yeah, from Craig McLean. You can find it at research.noaa.gov. He's like, look, integrity. I don't know where that statement came from, but we gonna find out. That was real dumb. He actually put it in much better terms. He was like, well, the main thrust of it was the people of our country trust us to be, to do amazing and accurate weather forecasting and give information, and our brand or our title being used for politics is real dumb, and it compromises that integrity, and I'm not going to stand for it, so I'm going to find out, and some shit's going to happen. So hopefully he doesn't end up in a ditch covered in petrol up fire.
So I know this is going to be like a really weird analogy because the source and everything, but I find it hilarious that like now there's a segment of the population that is acting Archie Bunker-esque in an act of defiance of like, I dare you to try to tell me how to live my life. And it's like, I mean, like I said, consider the source, and I realize it's before we knew all this, but like, this was actually a plot point in which it was one of the fucking Woody Allen movies, where it was the one with Alan Alda and shit, and they're this super liberal family, and the one kid just goes like full on conservative. He's like, is it Everyone Says I Love You? I think it is. I don't know if you maybe never even watched any of them. There's one of them. It's like one of their kids, like in an act of defiance, goes like super Republican, like at the dinner table. He's like, you're trying to make gay marriage okay, and all this stuff. And they're just like, how did we raise you? like all this stuff. That was like literally his act of defiance was like to turn, and they were like, we're super cool hippie people, what the hell? And then like the funniest joke about it is the end, it's like it turns out like he had a brain aneurysm or something like that. Like, it's just like turns out it's like a neurological disorder or something like that, like that was causing it. I don't know, it's just like I said, it's so weird that like the world is so cyclical that like, the hippie children, the flower children in the 60s were like, you know what, all your racist bullshit, like fuck that, love everybody, like, drugs and sex and everything. And like we've come back around where like people actually think like it's some act of defiance to be like, yeah, fucking let's keep people down and not give them rights. It's like, do you think you're being like hip or cool by like just people going like, please call me by the pronoun that I would like to be called? It's like, hell no, I won't do that. Like,
it's not in my America.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
It's because it's a grift. Because
I know. I just, like I said, that's the funniest thing. Like it's I hate to call upon Woody Allen as an example, but it's like I said, it's literally like that plot point where it's like it is now some sort of act of defiance to act like a shit to other people when they're just like, hey, I'd like this.
It's the combined grift of the Republican Party. Please note specific words there. The Republican Party and the evangelical Christians. Their combined grift is just to take power by any means necessary, whether it's inciting or theft or suppression and oppression. That's the deal.
Yeah.
It's those two things.
But
all they care about is power.
If there weren't people with microphones cheering on that kind of opinion for money, things would be infinitely better.
Yeah.
Because because the people who are the loudest about fuck your feelings and I'm not calling you by your pronoun and stuff are doing it for the notice me senpai,
It's to become part of the grift.
Yeah, exactly. There's money to be made in just fake hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't understand like what's wrong with just letting people do what they
Being
want to
cool?
do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why like that's some like fuck you, don't do that. It's like why? Like
It's just
me letting people live their own lives is the easiest thing I can possibly do, and it's the simplest, most decent human thing you can do.
Yeah. Well, part of the whole reason that a whole boatload of people came over here in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, second place. Okay. Well, all right. Notwithstanding the fact that there were people here,
Well, there was a
There
lot
were
of people that
people-
came over here because they were like, that whole like Catholic Church, Church of England thing, not strict enough for me.
well,
We're a little more puritanical and all that nonsense.
yes, but sort of the general idea was, to be free to practice what you want to practice.
Yeah, I know.
Notwithstanding like Leif Erikson landing here because he's just a cool guy that likes to sail around a lot, or the indigenous peoples who were here because their families walked over tens of thousands of years before. But like we're kind of a place that's supposed to be chill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not according to our later founding fathers and all the people who enslaved hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions. I don't know the numbers. Don't quote me.
don't at him.
And all that. But
Yeah, I'm just talking about the here and now. Just try to be cool with other people. That's all. If that's some radical statement, then you're crazy, and you should probably have that examined.
yeah,
That's pretty simple. I'm not taking a hardline stance. Just be cool to other people.
I'm taking a hardline stance. Be cool to people.
All right.
Yeah, don't be racist.
I'm saying that shouldn't be a hardline stance. That should be the
Yeah.
easiest stance.
Well, I'm taking a hard line on an easy
That goes back
stance.
to my original point. Our hardline stances of be decent to one another is like, you literal snowflake motherfucker. It's like, the fuck?
Why would you be so angry? It's
Christ, the movie that we fucking celebrate doesn't end with the guy murdering the Russian. He's like, get up, friend. We will be friends. You don't have to. Even though that guy just murdered everyone in the stadium watching the fucking robot fight.
right.
He's like, get up, fist bump me, bro. We can both live.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's the best movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, this is the greatest movie. I mean, I'm speaking for you guys, but you're like, this is the greatest movie we've ever seen.
Still is.
It's a lot of cool shit. Chainsaw Dick. Yeah, all that stuff. Yes. But still, that movie just ends with a, come on, guy.
You can have a chainsaw dick
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and nudity and giant robots and still be cool with each other.
Yeah. Be like, if I can change, then you can change. We all can change.
That's why I don't
We all can change.
that guy's comment in the What's
Way to
Our
bring it back
Thing,
around.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back around to Rocky 4.
where he said, like, these guys, their rating system is based on robot jocks, for God's sake. And I'm like, what's the problematic content in robot jocks that you think we're betraying by saying be nice to everybody? It's like, there's nothing, like, horrifically problematic in that.
We have already changed you in our minds.
I mean,
Tex is a little problematic in that.
he's the bad guy.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Jesus.
Oh, sorry.
The one person that listens to our
Aw.
podcast that hasn't seen Robot
I
Jocks.
was waiting till the end. I wanted to see what all the hubbub was about. Anyway, I'm going to shut this down now before we offend some true...
Nobody
snowflakes out
listens
there.
this long anyway.
Yeah, before we offend you with our please be nice to one another.
Yep. Oh, the most offensive statement one can make.
According to
Be-
Dickhole87 on iTunes.
Be excellent to each other.
Yep.
And remember, party on, dudes. And dudettes. And dudes of non-gender discrimination.
Even though I'm not the world's biggest Will Wheaton fan, especially these days, he's gotten Christ awfully annoying.
Yeah, I agree with you.